Chapter 549. Seeing the people walking out from the tunnel behind them, the man with the jade crown and his companions immediately retreated nervously. They gathered together and stared at those people. All of them had astonishing chi, their cultivations were powerful, and almost all of them were existences at the 9th or 10th stage of the Spirit Master. If placed outside the ancient temple, they would be considered outstanding amongst the Spirit Cultivator-s. They were divided into 2 rows and stood on both sides. All of them had solemn expressions, and all of them had secretly activated their profound chi. Is the person who dared to ignore the rules I set and barge into the desolate devil battlefield without permission here? How audacious! At this moment, an arrogant and somewhat lazy voice was heard. Su Yun looked towards the direction of the voice, only to see a thin man dressed in a blue brocade robe walking towards them from the back. The man's face was pale and his eyes were sunken, as if he had stayed up all night. His eyes were pitch black, and he was constantly inhaling and walking over, his gaze sweeping around, as if he was looking for someone. Under the instructions of the man with long hair, his eyes finally landed on Su Yun. So it's you. Interesting, interesting. Did you wear a shielding magic treasure? I can't even see through your cultivation, but an existence like you is most likely only at the 9th or 10th stage of the Spirit Master, at most, even if it's the Sky Spirit Master. I am not afraid. The man walked over and sized Su Yun up, then shouted loudly. Then, do you know what the consequences of offending this young master are? Offend? Su Yun raised his eyebrows. You are young Master Ling Xing. That's me. Oh? It doesn't look like it. I thought that this young Master Ling Xing would be a suave person with sharp eyebrows and starry eyes, but I never thought that it would be you with such a wretched appearance. Su Yun let out a few gloomy laughs. With that said, young Master Ling Xing and the rest immediately gasped for breath, all of them burning with anger. Arrogant. He was indeed arrogant. At first, I didn't believe it, but I didn't expect you to be like what they said, completely reckless. How dare you say such words in front of me? Very good. Today, I will let you know how powerful I, young Master Ling Xing, am, and let you understand that I am not someone with an undeserved reputation. With that, young Master Ling Xing waved his hand and shouted, Destroy his body, I want to imprison his soul and torture him. Yes, young master. Everyone shouted in unison, and then the 6th Spirit Cultivator-s rushed towards Su Yun. Seeing that, Su Yun was about to take action and fight. However, at this moment, a few figures suddenly blocked his way. Su Yun was startled, looking over. He realized that these people were actually young Master Yu Guan and the others. They stood in a row in front of Su Yun, staring at young Master Ling Xing and the rest with a serious expression, while young Master Yu Guan shouted, None of you are allowed to come over. The 6th Spirit Cultivator-s stopped in their tracks and looked at them strangely. Young Master Ling Xing turned his head and looked at the long-haired man beside him, and asked, Didn't you say that this guy is a rogue cultivator? Who are these people? I don't know. He was alone when he went in, the long-haired man said in confusion. Young Master Ling Xing turned his head and shouted at them, Are you guys with him? No. Young Master Yu Guan said coldly. Then don't meddle in other people's business. Young Master Ling Xing snorted. Young Master Yu Guan did not say a word, but turned his head to Su Yun, who was at a loss. Hey, let me ask you again, are you going to give us the desolate devil's heart or not? Hearing that, Su Yun regained his senses and asked curiously, What are you guys doing? Didn't you guys want to steal my desolate devil's heart? If it wasn't for the fact that I didn't want my companions to sacrifice themselves for nothing, I wouldn't have done such a thing. If I could openly obtain the desolate devil's heart, that would be for the best, so I discussed with my people, we will help you take care of young Master Ling Xing, and you will give us the desolate devil's heart as a reward. What do you think? That was what he was planning. Hearing that, Su Yun laughed bitterly. However, these guys did not seem to be bad. You guys should just forget about it. The desert heart is very important to me. I have to go to the ultimate martial sacred plane, Su Yun said. Hearing that, the young master Yu Guan immediately became anxious. Idiot, you just fought with the desolate devil and consumed a lot of profound qi. Now that the young master Leng Xing has so many people, his own strength is not simple. How can you be his match? Don't throw your life away for the sake of the desolate devil's heart. Desert heart. Young master Leng Xing seemed to have heard something. His expression immediately became serious. He took a few steps forward and asked loudly, "You guys have the heart of the desolate devil? It has nothing to do with you." Young master Yu Guan said, "You can't touch this person. If you dare act recklessly, don't blame us for being impolite. Now you can either leave quickly or fight with us. Make your choice." Fight? Young master Ling Xing raised his eyebrows. With just the few of you? What is it? Are you looking down on us? A tall and skinny man beside young master Yu Guan said coldly, "If you really want to fight, then come and try. I will let you know how powerful we are." What big words you have there. Young master Ling Xing did not stand on ceremony. He immediately raised his hands and waved them. In that moment, the 6 spirit cultivators immediately rushed towards young master Yu Guan and the others. The 6 of them walked in unison, lined up in a row, and rushed forward together. 6 auras attacked, like a thick wall crashing into it, giving off a lot of pressure. Young master Yu Guan and the rest felt the surging aura, and their faces immediately congealed. These people had heard of young master Leng Xing before, and knew that he was the son of a very powerful force. Not only were there many experts by young master Ling Xing's side, he was also very strong, and ordinary people could not afford to offend him. However, these people were not afraid. They were not people from young master Ling Xing's group, and it was very difficult for them to meet in the past, so if they offended them, then so be it. Young master Ling Xing did not know who these people were, so he would not have the chance to take revenge in the future. It was just that they did not expect young master Ling Xing's group of experts to be so strong. "I'm afraid it won't be easy to deal with them." Young master Yu Guan took a deep breath. He raised the slender blade in his hand, gathered his swift wind spirit chi, and waved it towards the spirit cultivator at the front. The blade edge released a profound chi that was like a wave, layer after layer striking towards the spirit cultivator. This was a mystical technique unique to young master Yu Guan. The profound chi was superimposed, and although this attack looked ordinary, it secretly contained 36 layers of power. When the opponent received the first layer of profound energy, the 35 layers of profound energy would go all out to cover that layer of profound energy, and the power released by the 36 layers of profound energy was so strong that it made one's scalp go numb. Clang! The spirit cultivator at the front immediately raised the sword in his hand and pointed it at young master Yu Guan. The blade and sword clashed, and the first layer of profound energy had already covered the sword. Seeing that, young master Yu Guan was overjoyed. Judging from the aura of these fellows, they are only existences at the 9th grade of Spirit Master. Their fighting strength might not even have broken through 10,000. Don't worry, go. Young master Yu Guan roared. The moment his voice fell, the 35 levels of profound energy fiercely smashed towards the spirit cultivator. Dong 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 dong, a muffled sound exploded out from the 35th floor. The ferocious force instantly struck the sword. The spirit cultivator did not have time to react, and was forced to retreat by the force. Kacha! A crisp sound rang out. Hearing that, everyone looked towards the source of the sound, only to discover that the sword that was supporting young master Yu Guan had already been shattered by the 36th Songlong profound energy S. The young master Yu Guan's long blade smoothly slashed downwards, straight towards the spirit cultivator's head. Good! His companions all applauded. If he were to kill one of them, his aura would definitely soar, and it would also intimidate young master Ling Xing's side, which would be of great help to everyone in the following battles. But reality was not as good as he had imagined. The moment the sword edge broke, the spirit cultivator released his hands, clasped his hands together, and instantly grabbed the slender blade that was slashing towards him. The moment he waved his hand, a terrifying true divine spirit chi was released. This spirit chi completely melded with the swift wind spirit chi on the blade edge, completely neutralizing the power of the blade, and then tightly clamped onto the blade edge. He caught the white blade with his bare hands. What? Young Master Yu Guan and the rest were completely shocked. Such fast movements, such accurate eyesight, such great power. What a terrifying true divine spirit chi. This is impossible. Young Master Yu Guan muttered, his eyes staring blankly at the scene. It had to be known that the blade had broken the opponent's sword, and there was still the remaining power of the 36 layers of profound strength on the blade. An ordinary person would definitely not be able to offset the power of the blade. The spirit cultivator's hands trembled as he held onto young Master Yu Guan's blade. His face that was filled with disdain revealed a sneer. I didn't expect you to have some strength, but to me, it's not enough. As the sound of his voice faded, the man suddenly threw the blade to the side, rushed forward, approached young Master Yu Guan, and punched him in the chest. Dong! Young Master Yu Guan was like a missile that flew out, directly crashing into the wall behind him, directly shattering the wall and causing the surrounding space to tremble. Young Master Yu Guan spat out a few mouthfuls of blood. A spider web-like crack appeared on his chest. It was so terrifying. Big brother! The rest of the people roared. What are you still standing there for? Kill them all and take the desolate devil's heart from them. The man shouted at the remaining 5 spirit cultivators. The rest of the people nodded and rushed towards young Master Yu Guan's companions. Everyone quickly started fighting, and no longer had the time to care about young Master Yu Guan. It's over. The man turned his gaze back to young Master Yu Guan, then suddenly took a step forward and rushed over. His fist was filled with true divine spirit profound strength that was enough to pierce through his body, and fiercely swung over. The tip of the fist was like a meteor piercing through the sky. Young Master Yu Guan was stunned. He anxiously stood up, and gathered all the strength in his body, planning to receive this punch with all his might. Although he knew that the other party was not simple, he did not expect the other party to be this strong. However, there was no other way. Things had already come to this point, and there was no way out. If he did not fight with all his might, the only outcome would be death. However, just as the man was rushing towards young Master Yu Guan, a figure suddenly appeared in front of him. Seeing who it was, young Master Yu Guan was startled. This person was Su Yun. With lightning speed, Su Yun punched towards the man's fist. The two fists collided, and with a bang, the two of them were forced to retreat by the other party's power. The man's expression was solemn as he stared at Su Yun. He never thought that this person would actually dare to fight against him. However, just as the man was pushed back by Su Yun, the surrounding space started to tremble again, and then, the soil above the tunnel suddenly cracked open, and immediately after, a huge fist broke through the fist and fiercely smashed towards that person. Dong! A huge explosion that sounded like a landslide sounded out, and a thick chi that was like a stormy sea swept out in all directions. That person was knocked to the ground by a huge fist, and his body split open. Chapter 550. Seeing this scene, everyone was dumbfounded. Looking at the strange and huge white bone fist above the tunnel, everyone's mind was instantly dumbfounded. What is this? Young Master Ling Xing stared blankly at the fist that was slowly being retracted, his eyes filled with shock. He looked towards the hole that was created by the hammer, only to see that it was pitch black inside. Only a pair of huge blood-red eyes flickered in the darkness, as if there was some terrifying existence in the darkness. The spirit cultivator who was fiercely smashed to the ground by the fist struggled to get up. His current appearance was extremely miserable. His entire body was covered in cracks, a large amount of blood flowed out from the cracks. It was extremely terrifying, and the surface of his skin was still reverberating with the terrifying profound strength that overflowed from the gigantic fist. It was hard to imagine how much damage this attack had caused him. The scene was extremely quiet. The spirit cultivator who was fighting with young Master Yu Guan and the rest also anxiously retreated. They stared at the pitch-black hole with blood-red eyes, their faces filled with nervousness and vigilance. Whiz! At this moment, the bloody eye in the hole suddenly disappeared, and following that, the huge and terrifying fist smashed down once again. "Save me!" The spirit cultivator screamed hysterically. 2 of the 6 hesitated, but the remaining 4 did not hesitate and immediately rushed over. They rushed to the side of the spirit cultivator, gathered all of their strength into their palms, and then pushed upwards. Dong! The huge fist came crashing down, but it was forcefully held back by the 8 palms. However, the 4 of them were not feeling well. Their arms were trembling crazily, their legs were shaking non-stop, and their bodies were sinking bit by bit in terms of strength. He was simply not a match for this huge fist. "What are you all still standing there for? Chun Xian, bring some people to help Vera, the others go and kill those fellows, and bring me the desolate devil's heart, quickly!" Only then did young Master Lung Xing regain his senses, and shouted at the dozen or so people who were still in a daze. As the sound of his voice faded, everyone recovered from their shock. The bold ones did not hesitate and immediately rushed over, but the timid ones trembled, and deliberately slowed down their speed, carefully approaching Su Yun and the rest. Su Yun stood quietly in his original position, looking at the people rushing towards him. He did not make any defensive or offensive postures. Dong 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 dong. At this time, a large number of explosions sounded out in the sky above the tunnel, followed by a cloud of dust. An incomparably huge bone hand stretched out and directly smashed towards Ling Xing. There were 7 hands in total. The surroundings of the tunnel shook violently as if it was about to collapse. Deep and resounding roars could be heard from all directions. Before the people who were rushing towards Su Yun could even get close to him, they were slapped to the ground by a few large hands, as though they were swatting flies. However, the power of the palms was so terrifying that it was hard to believe. The spirit cultivator with high cultivation were immediately slapped until they were confused, the profound chi in their bodies collapsed, and it was difficult for them to defend. "What the hell are these things?" Young Master Lung Xing was completely shocked and panicked by the sudden change, to the point that he could not even speak properly. He opened his eyes and looked around anxiously, looking at the pairs of red eyes behind the gigantic hole, and then looking at Su Yun, who was calm and collected, as though nothing had happened. He suddenly understood something and exclaimed, "Could it be that all of these things were summoned by you?" "Yes." Su Yun shamelessly admitted it. When young Master Yu Guan and the rest heard this, they were completely shocked. All of them broke out in cold sweat and their hearts were beating wildly. So this person still had such a method. He was truly blind, to actually think of snatching the desolate devil's heart from him. If he really fought with him, he probably wouldn't even know how he died. No wonder he was able to kill the desolate devil general inside. With this kind of strength, how could the desolate devil general not be able to fight against him? Young Master Yu Guan's face turned pale. At this moment, he really wanted to know how Su Yun would deal with them if he defeated young Master Ling Xing and the rest. Dong, 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 dong. The big hands that extended out from the hole crazily smashed towards the spirit cultivator below, causing the ground to shake crazily as if there was an earthquake. The tunnel was narrow, it was difficult for the spirit cultivator to dodge. They could only use the profound strength and magic treasure to forcefully resist the falling bone hands, but the power of the gigantic bone hands was truly terrifying. In just a few strikes, the defensive magic treasure were shattered, the profound strength of the spirit cultivator were exhausted, they were directly smashed to the ground, their internal organs were smashed, and their bodies were broken. The long-haired man and the buzz-cut man covered their heads and fled. Their strengths were not high, so how could they have any thoughts of resisting in the face of such a terrifying attack? He only wanted to escape. However, before the two of them could escape the tunnel, they were scooped up by a large hand and pulled back into the hole above. The two of them screamed miserably from the hole, and then there was no more movement. The scene was a mess. Minced meat, blood, and broken limbs were the only scenery here. Young Master Ling Xing was completely stunned. Whiz! A big fist flew towards him, causing young Master Ling Xing's heart to tighten. He immediately dodged backwards, avoiding the terrifying attack, and without thinking, he immediately ran towards the back. Damn it! You bastard, if you kill my people, I will definitely take revenge. Young Master Ling Xing fled in a sorry state, but he still did not forget to put on a brave front and continued to speak ruthlessly. Hearing that, Su Yun's eyes became serious. Then I'm sorry, you will also die today. With that said, he raised his left arm and activated the patterns on it. Dong dong dong. 3 huge feet broke through the top of the tunnel and directly stepped towards young Master Ling Xing. All 7 Devil Bone Giants were summoned. At this moment, they were in the dust above the tunnel. Su Yun never thought that he would be able to summon the Devil Bone Giant here, and that the giant would be able to break through the spatial restraints here and forcefully open up a space. In the end, it was a terrifying artifact created by the supreme expert of the demon realm. It was extraordinary. How could the young Master Ling Xing have thought that another huge foot would appear in front of him? With a moment of carelessness, he fell to the ground. Su Yun did not stand on ceremony, he also moved, carrying the tribulation fire. He transformed into a gust of wind, instantly rushing in front of the young Master Ling Xing. He raised his sword and slashed. He would never let go of those who threatened him. He did not want to regret it, and did not want to wait for the other party to hurt him or the people he cared about to make a move. Threats should be killed in the cradle. Damn it! Such a fast speed caused the young Master Ling Xing's heart to tighten once again. Seeing that he could not escape, he clenched his teeth and gave up on escaping. He directly took out a long purple rod and blocked the tribulation fire sword. Clang! When the purple rod struck the incoming tribulation fire sword, a ferocious heat wave immediately came from the rod's body, following the tribulation fire into Su Yun's body. Su Yun's body trembled slightly as he retreated a few steps. Seeing that, the young Master Ling Xing jumped up in a flash and quickly escaped again. Su Yun pulled out the immortal mystical scarlet blood sword and waved it at the young Master Ling Xing. Thousands of subordinate swords rushed out from the sword sheath behind him and flew over like a storm. How ferocious were the densely packed subordinate swords! In an instant, the young Master Ling Xing was knocked to the ground. In less than a breath of time, the profound qi in his body had been shattered, leaving thousands of sword scars on his body, making it difficult for him to stand up. Thousands of subordinate swords immediately shifted their sword tips and aimed at the young Master Ling Xing. Every one of the subordinate swords was surrounded by a terrifying pure divine spirit qi. The sharpness in the air was simply hair-raising. Su Yun's finger moved so, all the subordinate swords pierced towards the young Master Ling Xing. 1,000 swords attacked at the same time. Young Master Ling Xing was so scared that his face turned pale. In a hurry, he activated some kind of magic treasure, and a glass-like square-shaped air shield quickly enveloped him. However, how could he defend against such a dense array of flying swords? Cracks quickly appeared on the glass, and it was about to shatter. Young Master Ling Xing was simply. He immediately threw away the purple rod in his hand, gathered qi with both of his hands, and struck the glass, imbuing his profound strength into it. In the end, the young Master Ling Xing was still very strong. With the activation of the profound strength, the glass that was about to shatter immediately stabilized. However, this only solved the urgent problem. The profound strength in Su Yun's body was not weaker than the young Master Ling Xing's. If they were to fight head-on, the young Master Ling Xing would not be his match. The two of them were in a stalemate. But very quickly, the young Master Ling Xing had a plan to deal with it. He supported himself with one hand on the glass, the other hand reaching for the purple stick beside him with all his might and trembling. His eyes stared at the flying sword in front of him that was constantly stabbing at the glass. He clenched his teeth, suddenly raised the purple stick and fiercely struck at the subordinate sword. Clang! A heavy sound rang out. The sub-sword suddenly spun around, and then the sword body suddenly flew towards Su Yun fiercely. Su Yun frowned. He immediately activated his chi to control the sword, only to realize that the sword had an chi that was extremely similar to his own, and was controlling the sword to attack him. What was going on? This aura seemed to belong to him? Even the strength was the same, but he couldn't control this chi? A large number of question marks appeared in Su Yun's mind. Suddenly, he remembered that when he was using the Tribulation Fire Sword to slash, the young Master Lung Xing had also used this strange rod to block his attack, and he was forced to retreat by a scorching energy. The scorching energy seemed to be extremely similar to the power of the Tribulation Fire Sword. And now it was the same. Could it be that the purple rod in young Master Ling Xing's hand had the ability to counterattack? If that was the case, then it would be extremely terrifying. Su Yun thought. He turned his body and dodged the flying sword. The flying sword continued to fly forward, and did not continue to chase after Su Yun. It was only restrained by the force, but very quickly, the force on the flying sword slowly disappeared, and then it fell from the sky. It seemed that his guess was right. Su Yun once again split the profound chi, controlled the flying sword, and once again threw it towards the young Master Ling Xing. But at this time, the young Master Ling Xing picked up the purple rod again and continued to hit the surrounding flying swords. Rustle, 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 the flying swords flew over one after another, fiercely stabbing towards Su Yun. Chapter 551. These swords were only controlled by the young Master Ling Xing's counterattack, and flew in the direction they came from. Some of them attacked Su Yun, while others only brushed past Su Yun's side. However, it was clear that the young Master Ling Xing's goal was not to injure Su Yun, but to force the flying swords to scatter, and then wait for an opportunity to escape. However, his actions were a little naive. After all, there were thousands of flying swords around him. Seeing that Su Yun and the young Master Ling Xing were still in a stalemate, young Master Yu Guan and the rest who were behind them did not know what to do. To help Su Yun? There was no need at all. The young Master Ling Xing was completely suppressed. Why would he need their help? But if they were to leave, could it be that they were going to return empty-handed? And was it really good to leave in such a situation? Big brother! Right at this moment, the tall and skinny man beside young Master Yu Guan suddenly walked over and called out to him in a low voice. Young Master Yu Guan frowned and looked at him. What's wrong? We can't just stand by the side and watch. The tall and skinny man said in a low voice, We can't do nothing. We'll just sit here and wait for death. Sit and wait for death? What do you mean? Big brother, can't you tell what's going on in front of you? The person in front of him is extremely powerful. I'm afraid that the young Master Ling Xing is not his match, and now that he has completely suppressed the young Master Ling Xing, once he kills the young Master Ling Xing, then, who will be the next unlucky person? The tall and skinny man said in a low voice. Hearing that, the young Master Yu Guan's face congealed. You mean he won't let us go? Do you still need to ask? The tall and skinny man said in a deep voice. We wanted to snatch the desolate devil's heart from him before, but in fact we are already enemies. Big brother, do you know how broad-minded he is? Are you sure he won't bother with us? If not, then we must make a move. I think he will definitely not let us go, and will definitely settle the score with us. Rather than waiting for him to kill young Master Ling Xing before making a move against us, why don't we make a move first, and directly make a move, while his attention is all on young Master Ling Xing, make a move first, and kill him. At this point, the tall and skinny man's face was already filled with killing intent. Young Master Yu Guan was silent. Big brother, Zhang Luan is right, Maybe we did not expect this person's strength before, but now that we have seen the strength he has displayed, even young Master Lung Xing and the other experts were easily destroyed by him. I am afraid we are not his match. Now we can either choose to escape, or we can choose to launch a sneak attack. If we continue to be indifferent, we will only become fish meat. At this time, a woman at the side also advised. That's right. Big brother, make a decision quickly. Either you flee or you attack. Run? The place where they are fighting is the exit. We can't go there at all, so it's impossible for us to escape. We can only choose to attack. Then make your move. Yes. Big brother, what do you think? Hurry up and make a decision. The rest of the people advised, all of them revealing anxious expressions, all of them looking at young Master Yu Guan, as if waiting for his opinion. However, after a long time, young Master Yu Guan still did not speak. He didn't say anything about retreating or ambushing. Crack. Just then, a clear sound rang out. Everyone looked towards the source of the sound, only to see that young Master Lung Xing could not hold on any longer. The cracks on the layer of glass protecting his body were getting bigger and bigger. At this moment, young Master Lung Xing's face was frighteningly pale, and he was breathing rapidly. Cold sweat continuously dripped down his forehead, as though he was at the end of his rope. Using that strange rod to counterattack the flying sword was not something that could be done casually. It also required the profound strength to activate the purple rod to achieve such an effect. Although young Master Lung Xing looked like he was helping him out, in reality, he was accelerating the consumption of profound strength. In the end, it was still a battle of profound qi between the two of them. Although Su Yun's cultivation was not considered strong among these people, and did not even have a cultivation of Sky Spirit Master, but because of his many fortuitous encounters, the profound qi was extremely dense, and the spirit core in his body was many times stronger than an ordinary 8th grade Spirit Master existence. Furthermore, because of the monarch occult force, the strength of the spirit core and the quality of the profound qi were extremely outstanding, and were definitely not something an ordinary person could compare to. It's over. Su Yun ferociously gathered his strength, and the 1,000 swords around him attacked again, their strength increased by several times. Su Yun did not care about anything else, and the power in his body surged out crazily. Finally, clang! A crisp sound rang out in the swaying tunnel. The glass protecting the young Master Lung Xing completely shattered into pieces and fell to the ground. Has the outcome been decided? Young Master Yu Guan's eyes constricted as he stared at the scene. Don't kill me! Young Master Lung Xing shouted hysterically. Without even thinking, he grabbed the pendant on his neck and fiercely threw it to the ground. Crash! A golden light bloomed. The light was like a wall, blocking all the incoming flying swords. The closest flying sword was less than an inch away from young Master Lung Xing. If it went any further, it would be able to pierce through his heart. Seeing that, Su Yun frowned. With young Master Lung Xing's current condition, would he still have the profound strength to activate other magic treasure? At this time, the light continued to flicker. The light completely enveloped young Master Lung Xing. It was even stronger than the glass qi barrier. No matter how the 1,000 swords attacked, they were unable to break through. Master, I wonder how my son offended you. If he has offended you in any way, please give this old man some face and let him go, okay? At this moment, an anxious voice suddenly came out from the golden light. Following that, a figure came out from the light. Seeing that, Su Yun's eyebrows immediately knitted together. It turned out that the golden light was a life-saving magic treasure, and was also a protective talisman given to him by young Master Lung Xing's father. When his life was in danger, he could use this magic treasure to quickly establish a teleportation link with his father, Lung Xuetian, and quickly make his father appear beside Lung Xing. Lung Xing was Lung Xuetian's only son, and Lung Xuetian placed great importance on him. How could he not be concerned about his son's safety? This person's hair was white, and he wore a robe inlaid with golden runes. His beard fluttered in the wind, and he had the demeanor of a sage. Alliance leader of the Cold Blood Alliance, Lung Xue Tian. Young Master Yu Guan's face darkened as he bellowed. Alliance leader of the Cold Blood Alliance, Lung Xue Tian? Su Yun turned his head slightly and stared at the old man. That's right, it's me. The old man cupped his fists towards Su Yun. His expression was humble and his actions were respectful. Young Master Dog is not sensible, he is not cultivated for a long time. His personality is rather simple. I did not mean to offend you today. Please forgive me. Lung Xue Tian is here to apologize to you. Everything is just a misunderstanding. I hope that you do not mind. Lung Xue Tian will give you a small gift later, as an apology. I only hope that you do not mind. Everything is just a misunderstanding? Su Yun said indifferently. This alliance leader Ling, do you know what happened between your son and me? What makes you think this is a misunderstanding? This old man naturally knows. Although this old man has just arrived, in the instant of teleportation, this old man quickly read my son's memories today, and thus understood the cause and effect of the matter. My son has not cultivated for more than 100 years, and has experienced too little. He is young and impetuous. I hope that Master will forgive him and not bother with him. Read memories? Hearing that, Su Yun was shocked. The ultimate martial world was truly filled with strong martial artists. There were all sorts of strange technique. However, from this one could tell that this existence called Lung Xue Tian was definitely an extraordinary person. This kind of profound technique was extremely terrifying. If one could use it, they could easily obtain a high-grade profound skill from the memories of others. At that time, what kind of technique could they not learn? Since you know what happened between your son and I, what do you think we should do? Could it be that it's just compensation? If we just let it go like this now, in the future, when you guys deal with me, how should I deal with it? Su Yun said. Master, you are overthinking it. Although this old man is the alliance leader of the Cold Blood Alliance, I am definitely not the kind of person who bullies the weak. Today, I am in the wrong. This old man will definitely discipline my son strictly. How about this, Master? How do you think we should settle this? This old man will do as Master says. If it really doesn't work, this old man is willing to destroy my son's body, and only protect his soul and cripple all of his cultivation, in order to appease Master's anger. How about it? Lung Xue Tian said, cupping his fists. He bowed towards Su Yun seriously. Hearing that, young Master Lung Xing, who was at the side, was instantly stunned. Father, am I still your biological son? You can't do this to me. I've spent hundreds of years of hard work, used so many good pills and medicines, and spent so many cultivation coins to reach my current cultivation. If you're really so heartless as to do this, then I'd rather die with my soul destroyed. If you really plan to do this, I can't do anything about it. Lung Xue Tian said coldly. Xinger, do you know how much trouble you've caused for me all these years, and how many big shots you've offended? Do you know what kind of disaster your reckless behavior will bring us? If I don't punish you ruthlessly today, I will not rest. With that said, Lung Xue Tian once again bowed towards Su Yun, and said sincerely, Master, tell me, how do you want to deal with it? This old man will do as you say. When young Master Lung Xing heard this, he was so scared that he fell to the ground. How could he have thought that his father would be so ruthless? Was he still here to save him? Seeing Lung Xue Tian being so sincere, Su Yun felt that if his attitude continued to be unyielding, he would be a little embarrassed. After all, the other party was willing to take the initiative to admit his wrongs. He thought for a moment, and his eyes began to roll. After today, he might not have any more interactions with Lung Xue Tian. Wouldn't it be better to take advantage of this time to ask for some benefits than to kill Ling Xing? Thinking about it, Su Yun took a deep breath and asked, Alliance Leader Ling, although I am not an open-minded person, I am still a sensible person. You have already said it like this. If I am still haggling over it, it would seem like I am not. Since you have said it like this, then I will do as you say. Let me ask you, if I want compensation, can I ask as I please? Saying that, Su Yun felt that his thick skin was a little embarrassed. Chapter 552. Hearing Su Yun's words, the seriousness on Ling Xuetian's face relaxed a little. He heaved a sigh of relief and smiled. Master, feel free to speak. As long as I can satisfy it, I will definitely satisfy Master. All right then. Su Yun nodded his head. Since that's the case, then I won't be polite. To tell you the truth, I am not lacking in money right now, and I have a lot of magic treasure but I am lacking in profound skill If you can give me a high-grade profound skill then this matter will be over, and I will not pursue your son's mistakes. You want my father's profound skill? Don't even think about it? Who do you think you are? My father's profound skill are all heavenly items, even I did not pass them down to you. How can I pass them down to you? Hearing that, young Master Leng Xing immediately shouted. But just then, Ling Xuetian flipped his body and slapped young Master Ling Xing's face. Pow! A clear sound echoed in the broken tunnel. Young Master Yu Guan and the rest who were behind were dumbstruck. Su Yun was also startled. He did not expect Ling Xuetian to suddenly do this. Ling Xuetian growled. Shut up, bastard! If you speak again, I will break your body on the spot. Young Master Ling Xing covered his face and looked at Ling Xuetian in shock. He probably did not expect his father to slap him in front of everyone, and was speechless for a long time. Was this really his father? Wasn't this a little too much? He wondered what Ling Xing had done in the past to make Ling Xuetian so angry. But it had nothing to do with him. Su Yun exhaled slightly. Master, do you want a high-grade profound skill? These are all not a problem, but I don't have any dungeons on me that I can pass to you, so I can only teach you some chant. Ling Xuetian turned his head and said to Su Yun. Oh, that's all right. Su Yun waved his hand. That's good. Then, Master, what profound skill do you want to learn? This old man has learned a lot in his life, and there are a total of 13 profound skill that he is proud of. They are the blood-soaring heaven sword that focuses on killing, the 9 jade palm that can be used to attack and defend, and… No need. I won't learn any of these. Su Yun waved his hands, directly interrupting Ling Xuetian's words, and said, I am only interested in the profound skill that read your memories just now. If it is convenient for Alliance Leader Ling, can you teach me this profound skill? Oh! Ling Xuetian was startled. Who would have thought that Su Yun would actually have his eyes on his special absolute art? When Ling Xing heard Su Yun's request, he immediately became anxious. Just as he was about to say something, Ling Xuetian glanced at him from the corner of his eyes, causing him to tremble in fear, not daring to make a sound. Master, are you sure you want to learn this profound skill? Ling Xuetian asked again. Is it troublesome? Su Yun asked. It's not troublesome. You just need to follow the incantation and practice. In time, you will be able to master it. Ling Xuetian shook his head. That's good. I'll take it then. Su Yun laughed. Ling Xuetian nodded his head. Without wasting any time, he grabbed towards the ground, and a stone immediately flew into his hand. He activated the profound strength, and the stone was immediately wrapped in a green light. In a moment, the stone actually grew leaves and branches, and was quickly covered by vegetation. Ling Xuetian released his profound strength, and the vegetation was quickly cut into a new piece of wood the size of a palm. He extended his finger, activated the profound qi, and started drawing on the new wood. Ling Xuetian's qi only gave Su Yun 2 words: exquisite, vigorous. This qi was probably an extremely high existence in the Sky Spirit Master realm. If he were to fight with this person, it would be hard to predict who would win or lose. Young Master Ling Xing looked at the new piece of wood dryly, his eyes filled with desire. Very quickly, Ling Xuetian completed the new wood, and then handed it over to Su Yun and said, "This profound skill is called consonance technique. Its use is very simple. It is to read other people's memories. This is a consummate skill that I learned from the consonance sect. Although it is not considered a shocking profound skill, it is still very practical, but there is a limit to reading memories, only when the opponent's mental strength is extremely weak, or when the opponent's mental strength allows it. Can I use this profound skill? For example, when I used it on Quaner just now, Quaner allowed it. If Quaner does not allow it, I cannot forcefully read it, and if I forcefully read it, there will only be one outcome." Su Yun, who was still looking at the new wood, was startled. "What happens? Either his brain is destroyed or my brain is destroyed." "Brain destroyed?" "Yes, if the opponent's mental strength is stronger than his own, then the one whose brain is destroyed will be himself." Hearing that, Su Yun nodded his head seriously. Although this profound skill was not bad, if it was not used properly, it would harm himself. "So that's how it is. Thank you for the reminder." Su Yun cupped his fists towards Ling Xuetian. Although this mystical skill is special, it is not considered a powerful mystical skill. Moreover, using this mystical skill is also a great test of one's mental strength. I hope that Milord can use it cautiously. Those with great talent might be able to master it within a few years. Su Yun nodded and kept the new wood seriously. Seeing that Su Yun kept the new wood, Ling Xuetian cupped his fists again and said, "Then, master, this old man will bring my dog back to discipline him. Farewell." Su Yun cupped his fists. "Farewell." With that, Ling Xuetian grabbed the young master Ling Xing beside him and rushed out of the tunnel. His speed was extremely fast, and in the blink of an eye, he had disappeared. Seeing that Ling Xuetian had left, Su Yun finally calmed down. He did not expect that meeting this young master Ling Xing would be a blessing in disguise, obtaining a godly skill like the Lingxi art. Although it was not a terrifying killing magic treasure, it was a rather practical skill. With this profound skill, it would be much easier to deal with others in the future. Su Yun took out the new wood again and looked at it, then walked forward happily, preparing to leave. However, just as he took a few steps, a strange movement suddenly came from behind him. Su Yun turned his head, only then did he remember that there was a group of people behind him. "I almost forgot about you guys." Su Yun laughed. He looked at young Master Yu Guan and the rest, his eyes sweeping across their faces, and asked, "Do you guys still plan to snatch the desolate devil's heart from my hands?" With that said, no one dared to make a sound. The tall and skinny man quietly looked at young Master Yu Guan, then looked at Su Yun, and did not dare to make another sound. Young Master Yu Guan held on to the weapon in his hand tightly, stared at Su Yun sternly, and said, "We have eyes but failed to see. To actually offend a supreme expert like you, with the methods you have displayed before, it should be very easy for you to kill us, but even so, we will not accept our fate. If you want to settle the debt from before, then come, we will do our best to retaliate. You can imitate that Ling Xuetian and give me some benefits to appease my anger." Su Yun laughed. Unexpectedly, young Master Yu Guan snorted coldly and said, "Forget about us not having any treasures. Even if we did, we wouldn't give them to you." Su Yun was startled. He did not expect this person to have some backbone. "Big brother, I let you sneak attack us earlier, but you hesitated. Now that we're in this situation, I'm afraid it'll be difficult for us to escape." The tall and skinny man could not help but complain. "You all know my character. Although I'm not a gentleman, I really can't do such a thing. If it wasn't for Little Wei and the others, I wouldn't have robbed this person. Anyway, it's too late to say anything now. Everyone get ready, I'll try my best to delay this person. You guys think of a way to escape, one by one," young Master Yu Guan said. "You're really righteous, but do you think that any of you can escape under my eyes?" Su Yun smiled and waved his hand. Boom! The walls of the tunnel shattered, and huge heads stretched out from the broken parts. They were all terrifying skulls. These skulls had blood-red eyes and were incomparably huge. They were filled with baleful aura and devil chi, and there were 7 of them in all directions. They were extremely terrifying. The appearance of these giant skulls gave young Master Yu Guan and the others endless pressure. All of their faces turned pale, and some of their bodies even started to tremble. Only young Master Yu Guan did not say anything, but his face became even more serious. There was no fear in his eyes, only the determination to fight to the death. He really couldn't be scared. Seeing that, Su Yun laughed bitterly and shook his head, then asked, "What's your name? Why are you asking this?" Young Master Yu Guan frowned. "I don't kill nameless people." Hearing that, he did not hesitate and said in a clear voice, "Li Su Qing. Modest and upright. Good name, I'll remember it." Su Yun nodded, then raised his hand and snapped his fingers. In an instant, the giants in all directions all turned into pitch-black devil chi and dissipated. The tunnel instantly returned to silence. Seeing that, young Master Yu Guan was stunned. "My name is Su Yun," he said seriously. Young Master Yu Guan looked at him. "All right, you guys can go." Su Yun laughed. "You want to let us go?" Young Master Yu Guan was startled. "You're not a bad person. Furthermore, there's no deep hatred between us, so why should I kill you? I'm not bloodthirsty." Su Yun turned and walked out. "If you guys have the time to snatch my heart, why don't you continue to look for Desolate Devil and find my heart? Su Qing, we'll meet again in the future." While speaking, Su Yun had already left the tunnel entrance. His voice calmed down, and his figure gradually disappeared, quickly disappearing without a trace. Li Su Qing and the rest all stood in place in a daze, watching Su Yun leave. Only after a long while did someone regain their senses. "Big brother, he's letting us go just like that?" the tall and skinny man said in a daze. "Yeah." Li Su Qing took a deep breath and nodded. "It should be easy for him to kill us. Not everyone likes to kill people." Li Su Qing slowly closed his eyes, the terrifying giant reverberating in his mind, the densely packed sharp swords that filled the sky. For some reason, a brand was born in his heart. "I hope I'll have the chance to meet him in the future," Li Su Qing muttered. "Big brother, where are we going next? We can't let Little Wei and the others die in vain. Let's continue to look for Desolate Devil." Alright. Chapter 553. After obtaining the Desolate Devil's heart, Su Yun immediately rushed out of the Desolate Devil battlefield without stopping. Although he had obtained the Lingxi art, it was not the time to learn. He urgently wanted to head to the Wanhua realm, urgently wanted to rush to the Linglong mountain, and find traces of his parents. If he delayed for too long, and his parents went somewhere else, wouldn't that be a wasted trip? As Su Yun thought about it, he quickened his pace. Very quickly, he left the desolate desert battlefield. At this moment, there was a sea of people outside the battlefield. It seemed that during the period of time he had been in the desolate desert battlefield, a lot of spirit cultivator had come. Su Yun quickly walked to the array in front of the ancient temple, and found an empty array. He then took out the desolate devil's heart, and according to He Yu's method, he crushed the heart, and poured the blood and flesh onto the array origin in the center of the array. When the array origin was touched by the desolate devil's flesh and blood, it immediately released a bright light. The dazzling light shone in all directions. It was extremely dazzling. Seeing that, the spirit cultivator from all 4 directions all looked at Su Yun. "Look, this person actually obtained the desolate devil's heart. I searched for 3 days and 3 nights in the desolate devil battlefield, but I didn't see a single desolate devil. I only saw a bunch of spirit cultivators, and I don't know where this person found the desolate devil. Could it be the desolate devil general that was killed? I have met 2 desert generals, but they are too powerful, and I do not dare to fight them. If I do not have the help of other cultivators, fighting them alone will only result in death. But this guy is alone, there doesn't seem to be anyone else by his side. Could it be that this desolate devil's heart was obtained by him alone? Everyone was discussing, and all sorts of guesses could be heard. From time to time, exclamations of admiration, envy, and jealousy could be heard from the crowd. While Su Yun was urging the array, many spirit cultivators walked over quickly. "Hello, fellow cultivator. May I ask if you are selling this array?" A person stepped forward and said. "Sell?" Su Yun was startled and immediately understood. This formation was activated by him crushing the desolate devil's heart and using his blood, which also meant that the fragments of the desolate devil's heart were tainted with his own qi, and the formation would automatically record his qi. Other than himself, no one else would be able to enter, but if he did not enter after waiting for a while, when the qi above disappeared, others would be able to enter, but the formation would only be passed to one person at a time. The Almighty Beings had set up rules here, so no one dared to cause trouble. Thus, these powerful financial groups could only use money to deal with it. "Fellow cultivator, I will use 1,000,000 profound coin to buy your qualifications to enter the ultimate martial sacred plane. What do you think?" 1,000,000? You want to buy this qualification with a mere 1,000,000? Do you think this cultivator is an idiot? "Fellow cultivator, I bid 3,000,000. He, 3,000,000, I say, you poor bastards. If you don't have money, then don't even think about entering the ultimate martial sacred plane, in case your poverty spreads to the respected supreme expert over there. Fellow cultivator, I'll pay 10,000,000. 30,000,000. 40,000,000. 50,000,000. The more they shouted, the higher the price became. Following their shouts, some of the spirit cultivators outside were attracted over. Su Yun was just activating an array formation, but it was forcefully turned into an auction by these people. Seeing the people around him shouting crazily, Su Yun could not help but shake his head. "Did King say I sold it?" Su Yun did not even look at the people who were arguing until their faces were red and ears were red. Seeing that the array formation in front of him had already been activated, he directly walked in and activated it. Chirp! In that moment, Su Yun turned into a ray of white light and flew into the sky, disappearing without a trace. The teleportation circle also stopped abruptly after Su Yun left, and returned to its static state. Seeing that Su Yun had already left, the surrounding people were all startled for a moment. Then with a roar, they all dispersed. Whoosh! Not long after Su Yun stepped into the teleportation circle, a strange sound came out from beside his ears. Following that, he fiercely fell to the ground. His mind was in a mess, and he felt extremely uncomfortable. His entire body was filled with the aura of teleportation, and it took a long time for it to dissipate. He sat down cross-legged and immediately meditated to recover his spirit. After about the time it took for an incense stick to burn, he finally recovered and opened his eyes to look around. The surrounding immortal qi was faintly discernible, and the surrounding scenery seemed to be covered with a layer of veil. It was extremely hazy. At this moment, he was sitting on a lush green grassland. In the distance was a dense forest, and under the influence of the light fog, the forest was faintly discernible. "This is the ultimate martial sacred plane?" Su Yun stood up and walked around. "Other than the fog being a little big, there doesn't seem to be anything special about it." However, those fellows outside had sharpened their heads and wanted to drill in here, so there would definitely be something that would surprise him. Su Yun thought and then walked forward. What he needed to do now was to find the gatekeeper of the Wanhua realm. He did not dare to use his sword. After all, this was a place where experts gathered and supreme experts came out in large numbers. If he could keep a low profile, he would keep a low profile, and with his strength, if placed in the ultimate martial sacred plane, he would not even be able to make it onto the stage. The surroundings were extremely quiet. There was a hill in the distance that was covered in green grass, and it was extremely beautiful. The sky was azure blue, and the trees swayed gently with the cool breeze. There were no living creatures or ferocious beasts nearby, and it was like a paradise. "Welcome to the ultimate martial sacred plane. young and unfamiliar brat. Just as Su Yun was walking and looking around, an old voice suddenly came out from beside him. Hearing that, Su Yun's heart tightened. He subconsciously retreated, and looked towards the source of the voice, only to see that there was only a thick tree. There was no one around. Su Yun sized up the tree and asked suspiciously, "Who's talking?" "Of course it's me." The voice came out again. The source was this tree. The trunk of the tree gradually cracked open, and in a short while, it formed a clear and aged human face. "Don't young people know about spirits? I am the 10,000-year-old tree spirit here. You don't have to be afraid. I have no enmity towards you." The tree spirit seemed to have sensed Su Yun's vigilance and spoke. Seeing that the other party did not seem to have any hostility, Su Yun retracted his hostility and looked at the tree again, unable to hide the surprise in his eyes. 10,000-year-old tree spirit? Could it be that you have 10,000 years of cultivation? That's right, is that very strange? Of course. Su Yun said without hesitation. It was already incredible for a spirit cultivator to be able to cultivate for thousands of years, especially for the people of the ultimate martial world. Relying on the unique cultivation conditions of the ultimate martial world, if they were to cultivate for 1,000 years, coupled with the cultivation coins, their cultivation would probably reach the point of perfection. If they were to cultivate for 10,000 years, they would definitely reach the peak and become a supreme expert. But he never thought that in the ultimate martial sacred plane, even the trees would become spirits, and they would even be existences that had cultivated for 10,000 years. How could he not be surprised? Who would have thought that at this moment the tree spirit would start laughing? Young people are young people after all, they have never seen much of the world. This is your first time coming to the ultimate martial sacred plane. You definitely do not know that many things here have actually become spirits. The tree spirit let out waves of old laughter and continued. Look at that rock over there, that luck flower over there, and that circling bird. They have all become spirits, and that rock's cultivation is higher than mine by a whole 20,000 years. It already has 30,000 years of cultivation. As long as it cultivates for another 20,000 years, with the support of 50,000 years of cultivation, it will be able to break through the petrified man and become an immortal god-level existence. Immortal-level existence? Could it be that there really are immortals in this world? Su Yun was startled. Yes, how can there not be? This world is very big, so big that we don't even know how big it is. The tree spirit laughed. Hearing that, Su Yun nodded. This time, he had broadened his horizons. Brat, why did you come to the ultimate martial sacred plane? The tree spirit asked. Looking for someone. Su Yun said without hesitation. Do you also want to find an expert to take as your master? All these years, I have met countless spirit cultivator like you, but most of them are arrogant, and have high standards and low skills. I am afraid that some of the real masters are not willing to guide them, and even if there is a real master who is willing to give them some pointers, I am afraid that these guys will not be able to learn anything. Senior, you are thinking too much. I did not come here to seek guidance from a master, but to look for a gatekeeper. Su Yun said indifferently. I want to go to the Wanhua realm, but the only way to the Wanhua realm is through the ultimate martial sacred plane, which is why I came here. Su Yun said. To the Wanhua realm? The tree spirit's miraculous face actually revealed a trace of astonishment, and only returned to normal after a long while, and said, I am afraid it is not that easy to enter the Wanhua realm. The current gatekeeper is not as easy to talk to as before. If you are unable to obtain their approval, they will definitely not let you enter. The current spirit cultivator only cares about their own benefits, crazily absorbing the resources of the Wanhua realm, and continuously harming the living beings of the Wanhua realm. How can the gatekeeper allow outsiders to enter? No matter what, I want to go in, Su Yun said. However, he still had some doubts in his heart. Since it was so difficult to enter the Wanhua realm, then how did his parents enter? Furthermore, how did they enter the ultimate martial world? Were they very strong? Filled with doubts and anxious anticipation, Su Yun's heart was a little restless. At least for now, in this world, he did not only have Qing'er alone, he also had Hu Qianmei, Xianli, his father and mother, and a little sister that he had never met before. Brat, since you insist on going, then let me give you some pointers. Go west, go west, go west, and you will eventually meet those gatekeepers. The tree spirit's voice was somewhat serious as he said in a low voice. However, I must give you a piece of advice: you must be humble, cautious, and know your limits. If you anger those gatekeepers too much, what awaits you is only death. Those gatekeepers are not simple, even in this ultimate martial sacred plane, they are still incredible existences, do you understand? Hearing that, Su Yun nodded. He cupped his fists and bowed respectfully to the tree spirit. Junior will remember senior's teachings. Chapter 554. With the guidance of the tree spirit, Su Yun walked straight to the west. After flowing through the clear stream and climbing over the steep hills covered in grass, Su Yun felt that there was something watching him from the shadows. It was only after a period of time that he realized that many of the creatures here had already become spirits. A flower, a tree, a blade of grass, a stone, could all be in existence with a cultivation base of thousands or even tens of thousands. These were definitely not things that those demons and devils that relied on some kind of demonic aura, resentment or killing aura could compare with. From time to time, one could see some spirit cultivator dressed in white robes flying through the sky on auspicious cloud. They were like immortals, giving off the feeling that they were unreachable. Su Yun, who was walking below, naturally entered their eyes. Although Long Zhen's wristband had concealed Su Yun's cultivation, these supreme expert-s techniques were unique, and from Su Yun's attire and actions, they could guess his cultivation. Towards such a low cultivation person, most of the supreme expert-s chose to ignore him and fly away. Seeing that, Su Yun was not angry. After all, there were too many spirit cultivator-s with low cultivation that had rushed into the ultimate martial sacred plane. These great sages who were cultivating here had seen many of these fellows, so they were naturally very annoyed. After walking west for an unknown period of time, a different kind of scenery finally appeared in the distance. A village made entirely of wood. Su Yun looked into the distance, his heart slightly startled. Could it be that there were aboriginals here? However, this village was rather simple and crude. There were only houses and nothing else. Furthermore, there were many rune arrays on top of these houses. Su Yun was suspicious. He stepped forward, wanting to go in and take a look, and also ask about the situation of the gatekeeper of the Wanhua realm, to see if he could gain anything. However, after taking a few steps, he crashed into a transparent barrier, making it difficult for him to advance any further. Su Yun took a few steps back, looked over, and realized that it was a barrier that isolated the entire village. When Su Yun touched the entire enchantment protecting the village immediately rippled, and then, a young boy wearing a green robe appeared out of nowhere in the quiet village. The man quickly ran over, glanced at Su Yun, and then snorted. "Who are you? You actually don't know the rules. Don't you know that my teacher is giving a lecture? Sir? Lecture?" Su Yun was confused. He did not know what the man was talking about, so he cupped his fists and bowed, and said, "I am Su Yun, this is my first time here, and I do not know many of the rules. If I have offended you in any way, please forgive me." Seeing that Su Yun's attitude was not bad, the other party's gloomy face relaxed a little. He looked at Su Yun and said, "Then what are you doing here? Do you also want to consult my master? If that's the case, then come back in a few years. My master only recruits 10 disciples every 10 years. It's only been 7 years since the last time he recruited disciples. You still have to come back in 3 years. I'm sorry, I didn't come here to ask for your advice. I just came here to ask for directions." Su Yun said, "Aren't you here to be my disciple?" The man was stunned for a moment. He probably did not expect that someone would come here with another purpose. He looked at Su Yun seriously again, and then asked curiously, "What way are you asking?" "It's about the gatekeeper of the Wanhua realm," Su Yun said. "Previously, at that side, I was proud of Senior Tree Spirit's guidance, and said that if I keep heading west, I can see the gatekeeper of the Wanhua realm, but I don't know how long I've been down there, but I still haven't seen the gatekeeper, so I want to ask you, do you know where the gatekeeper is?" Unexpectedly, when the man heard Su Yun's words, his initially calm face immediately turned cold. He stared at Su Yun with disdain and contempt, and then snorted. "So you want to go to the Wanhua realm? Humph, I don't know where the gatekeeper of the Wanhua realm is. If you want to ask, go ask someone else." With that, the man ignored Su Yun and turned to walk into the village. Seeing this, Su Yun was shocked. What was going on? Why did he suddenly leave? The people of the ultimate martial sacred plane were really strange. But so be it, the ultimate martial sacred plane was only so big, since he was unwilling to say it, couldn't he find it? Su Yun took a deep breath, turned his head, went around the village, and continued to head west. However, just as he reached the middle of the village, he couldn't help but stop in his tracks. The barrier was transparent. Although it prevented people from entering, the people on the outside could see clearly inside. It turned out that this was not a village, but a gathering place for a group of spirit cultivators. These wooden buildings were all their cultivation rooms. Looking in from the outside, it felt extremely quiet and empty. However, that was not the case, because at this moment, everyone was gathered in the center of this so-called village. There was a Bodhi tree there, and under the Bodhi tree, an old man wearing a white robe sat cross-legged. The old man looked very old, but his demeanor and temperament gave people a feeling that he was abnormally spirited. His hair was almost completely white, and it was extremely long and messy. His eyebrows and beard were also abnormally thick, and they all hung down to the ground. The old man's eyes were like two slits, and his eyeballs were almost invisible. He placed his hands on his knees, looked forward, and softly muttered some words. Beside him, there were more than 70 spirit cultivators sitting cross-legged. Although the old man did not use much strength to speak, his voice was unexpectedly clearly heard by everyone around him. The old man was naturally extraordinary. Su Yun only took a glance at him, and had such a strange thought in his mind. But what made him even more shocked was that of the 70 or so people sitting beside the old man, a portion of them could no longer feel their chi. Their auras were illusory, like bubbles in a dream. It was impossible to detect their cultivation. What realm was this? Su Yun's heart trembled. The so-called spirit cultivation, using the spirit to enter the cultivation, using the cultivation to build the spirit. Everything in the world has a spirit. Cultivators also have a spirit. Everything in the world can become cultivators, and cultivators can also become everything in the world, becoming the master of the great Tao, 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 becoming the master of the great Tao. At this time, the old man's voice passed through the barrier that isolated the entire village, and slowly leaked into Su Yun's ears. At first, Su Yun didn't think much of it, but as the old man said a few words, he couldn't help but think that it was reasonable and novel. Spirit cultivator, heart cultivator, spirit 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 cultivator. Was this the old man's opinion? Although there were some parts that he didn't quite understand, He couldn't help but reflect on it, and there was a wonderful feeling of enlightenment in his heart. As expected of a mighty figure, just a few casual words of enlightenment could make people feel enlightened. Su-Yun thought. His footsteps actually stopped moving. He just stood outside the barrier, quietly listening to the old man's word. Everyone was so engrossed in listening that they didn't notice a man with a black sword on his back and a black cloak standing outside the barrier not far away. The azure sky gradually darkened. Dark clouds covered the sky. A strong wind blew. The raindrops gradually fell on this magical land. However, Su-Yun was completely unaware, and continued to listen quietly. The devil blood in his body was abnormally restless, but at this moment, he felt as if he had completely fallen into a state of transcendence, and his heart was incomparably calm. The rain stopped, the wind stopped, and the sun shone brightly in the sky. Su-Yun still maintained that appearance, standing outside the barrier. The old man's lecture lasted for a full 4 days and 3 nights. And in these 4 days and 3 nights, everyone, including Su-Yun, did not move at all. Almost everyone was listening attentively. The old man raised his head slightly, his slits-like eyes slightly opened. He swept his gaze across the people present, and finally looked at Su-Yun, who was standing quietly outside. He did not make any reaction, and continued to tirelessly narrate his experiences, comprehensions, and insights. The wind came and went, the sun and the moon alternated, and this time, another 6 days passed. 6 days. Perhaps when Su-Yun came back to his senses, he would also feel that it was like yesterday. All right, today's lecture will end here. The old man continued to open his slits-like eyes, looking at the crowd as he spoke. As soon as he finished speaking, many of the people below who had been in the state of statues moved at the same time. Then, they all stood up and bowed towards the old man, intending to leave. 1, 2, 3. Other than a few people, the majority of the people stood up, intending to leave. After listening to the old man's lesson, they would usually return to their own cultivation rooms to cultivate in seclusion, or organize their experiences. Of course, there would be people who had doubts, but today, no one seemed to have any doubts about the 10-day course. Wait! Just as everyone was about to leave, the old man sitting under the Bodhi tree suddenly opened his mouth and shouted. Everyone stopped in their tracks and immediately turned to the old man with cupped fists and bowed, as if they were all ears. The old man stood up, with his hands behind his back. He walked down and circled around them. Then, he said indifferently, "None of you have any questions, and all of you plan to leave to cultivate in seclusion. In that case, all of you have already understood the content of what I have said these past few days, right?" As soon as these words came out, many people looked at each other in dismay. They were surprised that the old man would say such words. A few people who were quite confident and thought that they had learned well spoke in unison. "This student believes that learning comes from the person and comprehension comes from the heart. Does that mean you have comprehended it?" The old man turned his head and looked at the few spirit cultivators who answered seriously, his eyes suddenly widening. The few of them felt uncomfortable being looked at by the old man like this. They all remained silent and did not say a word. However, the old man spoke again. "Since that's the case, then, based on what I have explained this time, I will test all of you. It shouldn't be a problem, right?" Chapter 555. Mr.'s words caught everyone off guard. Or perhaps it could be said that today's Mr. was extremely different from usual. Everything was fine. Why did he suddenly ask a question? In the past, although the old man would ask the students some questions about spirit cultivation and profound qi, he would not ask them immediately after the end of the class. After all, after the class ended, most people would have an understanding in their hearts and would anxiously return to their own cultivation grounds to cultivate and comprehend this experience. However, since Mr. had said so, none of the spirit cultivator present dared to go against his wishes. All of them had a humble attitude of listening respectfully. Since Mr. intends to test this student, This student will naturally accept Mr.'s teachings. A man wearing a purple gold crown and a cloud robe cupped his fists and said, "All right." The old man nodded his head decisively. After 3 seconds of silence, he didn't care if the students around him were prepared or not and directly spoke. What is the heart? What is the spirit? What about the soul? What about the spirit heart? As soon as he said this, many people immediately put on a contemplative look. Some people rubbed their chins and lowered their heads in thought, their brows knitted together. The atmosphere around them was a little strange. However, not every spirit cultivator was frowning. There were a few people who looked at him with smiles on their faces, full of confidence. It seemed like they knew the answer. The cloud-robed man was one of them. He cupped his fists towards the old man and smiled. Then, he said in a clear voice, "The heart is the essence and the spirit, the bones and the flesh, the eyes and the nose. It is everything that you see and feel. The spirit is the essence, the spirit, the bones and the flesh, the eyes and the nose. The heart is also the window through which we can peek into the divine way. Those without a heart will be forever shrouded in darkness, unable to move forward, and the heart of the spirit is the diamond on the divine way, carrying our footsteps here." The cloud-robed man spoke with confidence and composure. His enunciation was very clear, and every word he said was very appropriate. The students beside him listened quietly and kept nodding their heads. His perfect and outstanding performance caused the surrounding people to secretly cheer. Even the cloud-robed man himself couldn't help but praise his own performance. What the cloud-robed man said was exactly what the old man had said before, and there was nothing wrong with what he had said. Those who could be here were not ordinary people. No matter what they memorized, they could read 10 lines at a glance and not forget what they heard. Although the teacher had lectured for a full 10 days, every word and sentence that he had spoken during these 10 days had been engraved in everyone's heart, and no one had forgotten it. After his reply, the old man only stood quietly to the side. His eyes narrowed again, and he did not speak for a long time. He did not show any expression of satisfaction, nor did he show any displeasure. The cloud-robed man was still smiling, but when he saw the teacher like this, his smile immediately stopped. After thinking for a while, he cupped his fists and asked, "Sir, may I ask if I'm wrong?" "No, you're right. Not only that, you even added your own insights, your own experiences, and combined them with the thoughts of many spirit cultivator to express your own unique feelings." The old man nodded, but his expression did not change much. When the cloud-robed man saw this, a trace of doubt surfaced in his heart. What was going on? The old man raised his head and looked at the others around him. He asked calmly, "What about you guys? Do you share the same view as Susie?" "They're worlds apart." The others all cried out. However, as soon as these words were said, a strong sense of disappointment and helplessness appeared on the old man's face. The calmness from before had already disappeared without a trace. He could not help but shake his head. "I only know the surface, I don't know the inside, I don't know the inside." Sigh. With that, the old man raised his hand and waved it. He said indifferently, "All right, everyone who wants to go into closed-door cultivation, leave. There's no need to gather here." Although the old man said this, no one left. They all heard the sigh from the mister and knew that the mister must have something to say. Susie did not go to the point, otherwise, the mister would not have such an expression. "You only know the surface, but not the inside? Sir, what do you mean by that? Could it be that what Susie said before was wrong? Please explain, mister." Susie cupped his fists and said seriously, "It's just that the comprehension in your mind is everything that you've associated with what I've said. It's not your own feelings. You've only interpreted what I've said in the past few days. You haven't said the specific meaning." Mr. shook his head and looked at the others. Then, "Do any of you know the deeper meaning here?" As soon as he said this, no one made a sound. Everyone lowered their heads, and some revealed confused expressions. No one could answer the old man's question. The strange atmosphere continued for a long time. The more the old man looked, the more disappointed he became. His long and narrow eyes had already closed, and he could not help but shake his head. Su-yun, who was listening outside the barrier, came back to his senses. He looked like he had just woken up from a dream, and his mind was filled with insights. The old man's words were very fresh, giving off a feeling of enlightenment. He had always been at a loss. He had even replaced the devil blood and entered the demonic path for the sake of revenge. At this moment, his stubborn heart had also been sublimated. What is human? What is spirit? What is everything? Everything in this world was actually like the sand beneath one's feet. Sometimes it was very strong and could support the entire world. Sometimes it was very weak and was nothing more than a speck of dust. There were no true experts in this world, nor were there any so-called weaklings. The weak and the strong were all in one's heart. Perhaps every blade of grass, every tree, every flower, and every leaf in this world was the ruler of this world. It was both a living being and a god, and it could become a living being and a god. Everything was like a big disk, and there was no such thing as the so-called strong or weak. The strong or the weak were just like the clouds in front of them. They were ethereal and unpredictable, and there was no such thing as forever strong or forever weak. Su-yun's current comprehension was very rich, but these comprehensions were changing at every moment. The old man's words had touched him greatly. He felt that he should find a place to properly digest these words and absorb the insights in his heart. He raised his head and looked at the old man seriously. Then, through the screen, he clasped his hands and bowed to the old man. After entering the ultimate martial world, perhaps no one's words could move him more than the old man's, and no one's words could help him so much. After bowing, Su-yun turned and prepared to leave, continuing to look for the so-called Wanhua Realm's gatekeeper. "Little friend, please wait a moment." At this moment, a voice suddenly came from behind. Su-yun stopped and turned to look, only to see the old man with his hands behind his back, slowly walking over. It was that Mr. Su-yun was a little surprised, but he did not dare to be negligent, and immediately cupped his fists towards the old man. The old man slowly walked over as if he was taking a stroll. The barrier that isolated the village immediately disappeared without a trace after he touched it. Behind the old man were the 70-odd students. When they saw Su-yun, they were all surprised, and all of them whispered to each other, discussing amongst themselves. "Who is this person? Why is he here? Is he a passing spirit cultivator? I know this guy. He's been standing here for a few days. He must have eavesdropped on Mr.'s lecture. This shameless fellow, he looks very unfamiliar. He must be someone who just entered the ultimate martial sacred plane. I reckon that the reason he came to the ultimate martial sacred plane is to fish in troubled waters and ask for some supreme expert's guidance. TSK. Every year, there will be some juniors with inferior strength who have high aspirations." All sorts of small voices sounded out. Although their voices were not loud, Su-yun still heard a lot of them. Hearing that, Su-yun frowned. Amongst these people, there were quite a few who had higher cultivation than him. Their foundations were strong, and their temperaments should not be bad either. How could they be like a woman and like to comment on others like that? "Oh, I know you." Just then, a green-robed youth came out from the crowd. He ran in front of Su-yun and turned around, revealing a look of shock. He pointed at Su-yun and shouted, "Aren't you the guy who asked for directions? Why are you here? I understand, you must have eavesdropped on Mr.'s lecture, you shameless fellow." As soon as he said that, a few furious spirit cultivator appeared in the crowd. "Stealing is a great crime. This person dares to do such a despicable thing. He must be severely punished. Destroy his fleshly body, exterminate his soul, and execute him." "Right, execute him! Execute him!" A few hot-tempered fellows immediately jumped out, looking like they wanted to swallow Su Yun alive. However, at this moment, the old man raised his hand, signaling for everyone to stop talking. With a raise of his hand, everyone immediately quietened down. Su Yun ignored the spirit cultivator behind him, who was much stronger than him, and seriously bowed to the old man, and said, "I wonder why Senior called this Junior." "Oh, it's nothing much." The old man sized up Su Yun, smiled, and said, "I see that you have been standing outside for a few days. I think you have heard some of this old man's previous opinions. I wonder if little friend has any good opinions about this old man's previous question?" Hearing that, Su Yun shook his head. "What Senior has said in the past few days are all words of enlightenment, classic words. How can they be my humble opinion? As for the question, I hope Senior can forgive me." This Junior was slightly distracted and did not hear Senior's question clearly. "Please ask Senior again." "What is the heart? What is the spirit? What about the soul? What about the spirit heart?" the old man asked directly. With that said, Su Yun became silent. The 70 pairs of eyes behind him all stared at Su Yun, all of them filled with anticipation, as though they were waiting for him to speak. Some of them whispered to each other, looking at him with ridicule. The old man was not anxious, nor did he say a word. With his hands behind his back, he stared at Su Yun. After an unknown period of time, Su Yun finally spoke. He raised his head, his pale face staring at the old man seriously. Without the slightest hesitation, 3 words came out of his mouth. "I don't know." With that said, the scene became so quiet that if a needle fell to the ground, it would create a loud sound. Chapter 556. Don't know? What a simple 3 words. However, was this the time to say those 3 words? Su Yun might not know the status of the old man in front of him, nor did he know the influence he had in the ultimate martial sacred plane. In order to receive his slight guidance, the people here had expended a lot of energy. How could anyone dare to offend this person? After listening to the lessons for the past 10 days, everyone had some answers in their hearts. If they didn't know, wouldn't that mean that they didn't listen at all? If a student didn't listen to a teacher's lessons, that would be a great insult and disrespect to a teacher. He actually doesn't know? Isn't this guy secretly learning from me? I think this guy is just a lowly guy. It's hard for him to become a great person. Some of the guy's eyes were already filled with disdain, and some even turned their gazes away, as if looking at Su Yun one more time would be an insult to their own eyes. Suzy and the rest sighed again and again, while Suzy himself shook his head and said to Su Yun, "Mr. has already said it very clearly. I still remember that Mr. specially said it twice. How can you not even know this? Sigh, what a disgrace to Mr.'s profound wisdom. You should leave quickly." With that, Suzy waved his hand, telling Su Yun to leave quickly. However, to everyone's surprise, the old man did not feel angry. Instead, his calm expression revealed a trace of peace. He nodded at Su Yun and said, "Didn't you listen to my lecture? Why don't you know? This junior has indeed listened to Senior's lessons. In this regard, this junior has also heard some of Senior's insights, but I don't know why I don't know either." Su Yun shook his head. "I feel that the thoughts in my heart are changing every moment. The spirit, heart, spirit, and spirit that I have comprehended are all changing. The second before and the second after are like heaven and earth, completely different. So, I don't have a standard answer in my heart. I don't know. If Senior insists on asking, I'm afraid I can only tell you. Everything can be the heart, everything can be the spirit, everything in this world, everything we think, can become the answer," Su Yun said, even though he did not know what he was saying, but it did not matter, it was exactly what he was thinking. Although he did not know who the old man in front of him was, the 10 days of lessons that the old man had taught him had made him admire him. Facing someone he respected, he would not lie to him. What is he talking about? Su Yun's reply attracted a buzz of discussion from the back row. Some people scoffed and snorted, feeling that Su Yun was completely out of place. But in the next second, the old man actually laughed. The old man smiled benevolently. It was a smile that came from the bottom of his heart. He seemed to be very satisfied with Su Yun's answer. Seeing such an expression on the old man's face, everyone was completely stunned. What I've said is merely my understanding. I've thought about it from my perspective. In reality, the understanding I've spoken about back then is not the standard answer. Because right now, my state of mind is the same as this young friend's. Everything in the world is the answer. After the old man finished speaking, he turned his head and looked at the dumbstruck Su Zi and said, Su Zi, your answer is a form, or rather, it is not even a form, because your answer is from the perspective of what I have said, and not from your own perspective. You only understand and comprehend what I have said, and this way, you will never be able to comprehend to a higher realm. In fact, it is not only this sentence, but even in the days that I have been teaching you, every word that I have said, you should not think about it from the literal meaning, but from your own perspective. What I have said is just from experience, that is all. As soon as these words were said, everyone fell silent. The old man glanced at the crowd and said indifferently, The process of teaching is very boring, but your cultivation is not low, and you can already endure the boredom and the loneliness, but you can't defeat the complacency in your hearts. You boast that your intelligence is outstanding, your comprehension is high, and every time I teach, you will listen to some of it, and you will quickly analyze it, interpret it, and then put it aside and not take it to heart. Perhaps when you have comprehended something, you will completely immerse yourself in your own comprehension, and turn a deaf ear to my following words. This complacency will slowly become conceited, and in the end, you will commit suicide. Among all of you, there are only 2 or 3 people who can truly listen quietly like this young friend. When these words fell into everyone's ears, the surrounding people were shocked. So this was what the old man meant by what he said. Some people lowered their heads, feeling incomparably ashamed. Su Zi cupped his fists and lowered his head, not saying a word. How could he have known that his cleverness was just self-inflicted? Now, Mister's words were completely slapping his face. The old man did not say anything else. He turned around to look at Su Yun and asked, Little friend, which great sage are you the student of? Senior is too modest, this junior is just a country bumpkin, not a student of any great sage. This junior is just a country bumpkin. I am not very familiar with the rules here. If I have offended Senior in any way, I hope that Senior can forgive me. Su Yun laughed. Hearing that, the old man's long and narrow eyes widened and said in shock, You just came to the ultimate martial sacred plane? Yes. Su Yun nodded. The old man carefully sized up Su Yun once again, and actually nodded his head in satisfaction. He laughed and said, Little friend, this old man sees that your talent is extraordinary, and your vision is unique. You are a pretty good spirit cultivator genius. If you are you willing to be this old man's student? Although this old man is not a virtuous person, but I like spirit cultivator with good talent, maybe this old man can teach you something. Hearing that, Su Yun was immediately overjoyed. He immediately cupped his fists and bowed 90 degrees, and said, How can I not accept Senior's kindness? Good. All right. The old man was gratified, his eyes filled with joy. Just at this time, Su Yun's excited face suddenly revealed a look of difficulty. After that, he actually shook his head and said, However, Senior, I'm afraid that Junior cannot stay here for long. Junior did not come to the ultimate martial sacred plane to seek a great sage to comprehend the great Tao, but to head to the Wanhua realm to search for the whereabouts of my parents, so even though Junior really wants Senior's guidance. But, hey kid, what do you mean by this? Reject my husband? Do you know that my master is one of the 5 sages of the ultimate martial sacred plane? How many people want to bow down to him? But you, my master personally recruited you as a student and you actually rejected him. Do you still put my master in your eyes? Suzy, who was behind, saw that Su Yun was actually hesitating, and faintly had the intention to reject him. He was immediately angered. He took a few steps forward and shouted angrily. Sigh. Suzy, don't be angry, this little friend is also helpless, his parents are greater than the heavens, he also has his own difficulties. The old man said. He was not the slightest bit dissatisfied with Su Yun's words. Hearing that, Suzy lowered his head again, not daring to say a word. The old man looked at Su Yun and asked, Then, little friend, I won't ask anything else, I just want to ask you, are you willing to become my master Subhudi's student and accept my teachings? I can't ask for more. Su Yun bowed. All right. The old man nodded, smiled, then took out a faceplate from his bosom and handed it over to Su Yun. Since that's the case, then, you can be this old man's student. But this junior must first go find my parents. Su Yun looked troubled. What conflict is there between you going to find your parents and becoming my student? You can go find your parents first, and when you're free, you can come here and listen to my lessons. I didn't force you to stay here. The master Subhudi laughed and said. Hearing that, Su Yun was moved and emotional. It was hard for him to understand what kind of mentality the master Subhudi had at this time, but without a doubt it was a kind of open-minded and cheerful mentality, one that cared about everything, yet did not care about everything. What kind of supreme realm was this? Su Yun bowed to the old man again, and seriously received the faceplate. According to the master Subhudi's instructions, he recorded his own information on it, and then turned to leave. Heiyu Chamber of Commerce's main venue. As usual, the fatty Heiyu patrolled the Chamber of Commerce's venue. He led two spirit cultivator with decent cultivation, with his hands behind his back. He paced through the sea of people. When the spirit cultivator who entered the Chamber of Commerce to trade saw this fatty, they would respectfully bow or greet him. Heiyu nodded his head, but there was not much of a smile on his face. President Heiyu. At this moment, a familiar voice came from behind. Heiyu turned his head, only to see a few people walking over quickly. The person in the lead was Tsang Yen. Oh, so it's Miss Tsang Yen. How have you been, miss? Heiyu cupped his fists and said, I heard that you are rebuilding the Tsang family, but I wonder how it is going? President, you have a heart. Tsang Yen laughed bitterly and said, I am a woman, and I am unable to pass on my inheritance, how can I rebuild it? I have been contacting a cousin of mine who is cultivating outside, but he has not returned to the Tsang family for many years, and I do not know if he is alive or dead, so I will wait for him to return and build a new life together. President Heiyu, are you inspecting here? Yes. Heiyu nodded. This is my daily mission. The reason why Heiyu Chamber of Commerce is able to reach its current scale is because of your hard work, President. Tsang Yen sighed. Miss, is there something you need? Oh, I just want to find some things I need here and see if you have any. Most of them do. What does Miss Tsang Yen need? Let me get it for you. Heiyu said. Hearing that, Tsang Yen was extremely grateful. However, just as she was about to speak, a voice suddenly called out from the door. Hey, does anyone here know Su Yun? Do you know where he is? Hurry up and bring him out to see me. With that said, the hall became silent. Tsang Yen and Heiyu's expressions froze. Who was so bold to call out the 100 Meetings Alliance's alliance leader by name? And with such a frivolous tone? With extreme dissatisfaction, the two of them looked towards the source of the voice at the same time. Chapter 557. An elf-like girl stood at the door. She didn't look very old, and she wore a fiery red dress with phoenix patterns on it. Her exquisite figure was perfectly wrapped up by the dress, making her look extremely seductive. However, what caught people's attention was her big, furry tail that swayed behind her perky butt, as well as the two playful ears that dangled from her long hair. The girl's eyes were golden in color, giving off a very intoxicating feeling. Her small face was exquisite and charming, and her skin was as white as snow. On her forehead there was even a little golden pattern. If one did not look carefully, it would be difficult to see this pattern. Seeing the girl, Song Yen and He Yu looked at each other. The two of them could see the doubt in each other's eyes. "Let's go take a look," He Yu whispered to Song Yen, then walked towards the young lady. The girl's gaze swept around. A fluffy snow-white tail was constantly swaying, making people want to hold it tightly in their hands and play with it. "Who is this young lady? May I know why you are looking for alliance leader, Sue?" He Yu asked with a serious expression. The girl looked at the fatty in front of her, placed her hands on her hips, and asked, "Is your alliance leader Su Yun?" "That's right. I believe everyone in Beiyang knows about it." "Then, is your alliance leader from the Sky Martial Continent?" the girl asked again. Hearing that, He Yu thought for a moment, but he was not in a hurry to answer the girl's question, and asked, "Who are you?" "Who I am is none of your business. If he's still here, quickly get him out or bring me to find him. Hurry." The girl's eyes were filled with urgency, excitement, and anticipation. Seeing that, He Yu immediately knew that this person was not Su Yun's enemy. If he was an enemy, why would he reveal such an anxious and expectant gaze? He could not see even the slightest bit of hostility in the girl's eyes. "Please reveal your identity, Mississippi." "If Miss is unwilling to reveal your identity, I'm afraid He Yu will not be able to contact Lord Su Yun for you." He Yu cupped his fists and said. Seeing the fatty being so cautious, the girl, Hu Qianmei, could not help but pout and was a little displeased. All right. You damn fatty, you're as careful as a fox. I don't know what you're afraid of. Could it be that I'll eat your adults? Fox? Aren't you a fox yourself?" He Yu shook his head. "I'm the wife of your Alliance Master. If you like, you can call me Madam Alliance Master." At that moment, the young woman crossed her arms in front of her chest and said with a shocking tone, "What?" Both of them were shocked when they heard this, and they looked at the girl in astonishment. Alliance Master's wife? Could it be? You are the Alliance leader's dual cultivation partner? He Yu looked at the young girl in shock. He carefully sized Hu Qianmei up, and his eyes suddenly became strange. Seeing that, Hu Qianmei giggled and said, "That's right, your alliance leader likes girls like me who still look like children. Hee, how about it, isn't his taste very unique?" He Yu did not know how to reply. "Young lady, are you telling the truth? Although I haven't known the Alliance Master for a long time, I've never heard of him having a dual cultivation companion. Furthermore, if he had a dual cultivation companion, why wouldn't he follow the Alliance Master?" At this moment, Song Yen suddenly came over and asked seriously. Hearing that, Hu Qianmei's pair of golden eyes turned and stared at Song Yen. Suddenly, she moved closer and stood in front of Song Yen, staring straight at the woman. Hu Qianmei sized him up from top to bottom, then circled around Song Yen and laughed. "Her breasts are not big, her butt is not perky, and she does not have much talent. For a woman like you, you can just play with her." Hearing that, Song Yen was a little angry. "What nonsense are you talking about?" "Nothing." Hu Qianmei laughed lightly and said, "All right, stop beating around the bush, quickly bring me to see your alliance leader. I haven't seen him for a long time, I miss him a lot." "You are an unknown person, how can you casually see our alliance leader?" Song Yen seemed to be angered by Hu Qianmei's words, and immediately snorted and rejected. "Unknown origin?" Hu Qianmei took out half a jade-like object from his pocket and handed it over to He Yu. "You guys can just take this and give it to your alliance leader." He Yu looked at the thing but did not accept it. In fact, he had long since confirmed that the girl in front of him knew the alliance leader, but he was unable to bring her to see him. "I'm sorry, our alliance leader is no longer in the Beiyang. As far as I know, he has already entered the desolate devil battlefield, and if everything goes smoothly, he might have already entered the ultimate martial sacred plane," He Yu said. Hearing that, Hu Qianmei was startled. "Desolate devil battlefield? Ultimate martial sacred plane? What is he doing there?" "I don't know." He Yu shook his head. Hu Qianmei's cute eyebrows knitted tightly. She opened her mouth, wanting to say something, but did not know what to say, and could only lower her head to think. He Yu and Song Yen looked at each other again, as if they had something to say in their hearts. President He Yu. At this time, a servant quickly ran over and called out to He Yu. What happened? He Yu asked. The servant hurriedly said, President, outside, there's a woman outside. Woman? What woman? What a beautiful woman. The servant suddenly grinned and said, She said she's here to look for you. He Yu was startled. Song Yen, who was at the side, smiled slightly. Seems like President He Yu is quite popular with women. As the words left his mouth, waves of exclamations came from the hall. Soon after, a woman wearing a white robe walked in with light step. Seeing that, the servant hurriedly said, President, she's come in. He Yu looked up and saw the woman walking over. His bean-sized eyes widened a bit. In terms of looks, the fox girl in front of him was already very extraordinary. She was protruding, concave, beautiful, and graceful. Especially her fox ears and fox tail, it added a lot of temptation. However, the person who walked over at this moment was even more extraordinary. Her appearance was exceptionally elegant, like a green lotus. Her long hair draped over her shoulders like a black waterfall. Her figure was tall and slender, and her temperament was elegant. She was simply like a fairy. The fox girl turned her head to look at the person who had walked over. She snorted and crossed her arms in front of her chest. Oh, junior sister, are you all right? The white-clothed woman also noticed the fox-eared and fox-tailed young girl, but the latter's back was facing her, so she couldn't see clearly. When the young girl turned around, the white-clothed woman confirmed the other's identity. She quickly walked over, gracefully bowed and softly said, Greetings, Senior Marshal Sister. Come on, don't do that. I don't like it. Hu Qianmei's rosy lips curled up slightly. She walked in front of Long Xianli, circled around her, and said with a smile, You're not dead, that's great. Hearing that, a trace of emotion flashed past Long Xianli's bright and deep eyes. She never thought that at this critical juncture, the one who risked his life to save her was not the immortal sword sect that she was loyal to, but the one who had always wanted to kill her, the one who had always wanted to destroy the immortal sword sect. This contrast made her state of mind extremely chaotic. After being released by Bai Yenshan, Long Xianli did not immediately return to the Emperor Palace. She knew that it was useless to continue asking for help from the Emperor Palace or the immortal sword sect. The only thing she could do was to rely on her own strength to think of a way to save Bai Yenshan. Otherwise, she would feel guilty in her heart, and even more sorry for the dead elder Shen Hong. However, what no one expected was that while she was still painstakingly thinking about how to deal with Bai Yenshan, a shocking news came from the Suicide Valley. The Suicide Valley was destroyed, the 100 Meetings Alliance was established, and the alliance leader was Su Yun. When Long Xianli heard this news, he was completely dumbfounded. No matter how she thought about it, she would never have thought that the Suicide Valley would end up like this. Therefore, she decided to come to the 100 Meetings Alliance to take a look and ask He Yu, who was extremely close to the alliance leader. If possible, she hoped to meet this alliance leader who had suddenly appeared, and see if he was the Su Yun from the Sky Martial Continent. You don't need to confirm, that guy is Su Yun from the Sky Martial Continent. Hu Qianmei seemed to have guessed Long Xianli's intention in coming here, and said with a smile. Long Xianli's heart trembled, and immediately asked, Then where is he now? These two fellows said that he went to the ultimate martial sacred plane. Hu Qianmei sighed. Ultimate martial sacred plane? Long Xianli's eyebrows slightly twitched. That is the place where the supreme expert gathers. It is an incredible holy land. Ordinary spirit cultivator does not have the qualifications to enter, junior sister. Although you have followed the immortal sword sect into the ultimate martial world, your current strength is too weak. It is definitely impossible for you to go to the ultimate martial sacred plane. you should just cultivate properly. As for Su Yun, it is better if I go find him. Hu Qianmei laughed. Long Xianli lowered his head and did not say a word. Song Yen, who was at the side, was confused when he heard this. Looking at the two women in front of him who had completely crushed his appearance, he felt slightly unhappy and asked, "May I ask who this lady is? What is her relationship with my alliance leader?" "How should I put it?" Hu Qianmei scratched his head and said, "If it's her, she should also be considered your alliance leader's mistress, right?" "Senior sister, what nonsense are you talking about?" Long Xianli's fair face immediately burned as she said somewhat angrily. "Nonsense?" Hu Qianmei laughed bitterly and shook his head. "You idiot, don't you know why the Suicide Valley was destroyed this time?" Hearing that, Long Xianli was startled. "Why? It's all because of you." Hu Qianmei sighed. "Because of me?" Long Xianli's eyes lost focus. Could it be that Su Yun, it's impossible for Su Yun to do it for Bai Yenshan, who already has nothing to do with him. The reason why he destroyed the Suicide Valley must be because of you. I guess that's the only possibility, Hu Qianmei said softly. Chapter 558. Master Subhuti, one of the 5 sages of the ultimate martial sacred plane. His position in the ultimate martial sacred plane was extraordinary, and no ordinary person could compare to him. Knowing that the old man in front of him had such an outstanding identity, Su Yun was naturally surprised and happy. At the end of the class, the students returned to their own cultivation grounds to cultivate. However, Su Yun was not in a hurry to leave, and instead chatted with the Master Subhuti. There was no one around the Bodhi tree, only the two of them sat facing each other under the tree. Su Yun looked around, then said, "Teacher, do you know where the gatekeeper of the Wanhua realm is now?" Although the ultimate martial sacred plane could not be compared to the Beiyang, it was not small either. It had always been facing west, but Su Yun did not know the exact location of the west side. As one of the 5 sages, the Master Subhuti must know, so asking him was the best. The Master Subhuti raised his hand lightly, and a gust of wind blew past, causing the Bodhi tree to rustle. Following that, a green leaf fell from the sky and gently landed in the palm of the Master Subhuti. Master Subhuti raised his other hand and gently covered the leaf, then opened it and handed it over to Su Yun. "Bring it with you, it will bring you to the gatekeeper of the Wanhua realm." The Master Subhuti chuckled and said, "I have interacted with the gatekeepers of the Wanhua realm before. They are all people with profound wisdom and high cultivation. They will not allow outsiders to enter the Wanhua realm easily, but you are my student. Although I do not understand you very well, I still know a bit about you. I think it is completely possible for you to enter the Wanhua realm, and when you reach the gate of the Wanhua realm, you will hand over the nameplate I gave you to the gatekeeper. I believe that with my old face and the situation you have described, the gatekeeper will allow you to enter." Hearing that, Su Yun was overjoyed. He immediately cupped his fists towards the Master Subhuti and bowed. "Teacher, thank you so much this time." "You're welcome, it's just a small matter." The Master Subhuti laughed. The two of them chatted for a while longer. Su Yun looked at the training rooms around him, and asked suspiciously, "Teacher, you are a person of great wisdom. Logically speaking, this student of yours should have inherited great wisdom, but why was it that before?" At this point, Su Yun hesitated. Why are all the students from before not having a good temperament, unable to maintain their composure, and unable to keep their minds right? Master Subhuti said with a smile. Su Yun hesitated, but still nodded his head. However, Master Subhuti stroked his white beard and laughed. "That's because their temperament is not comparable to their cultivation. Can't compare." "That's right, Su Yun, in your eyes, his cultivation is incomparably powerful, but in reality, his cultivation is just a fake cultivation." Fake cultivation? Could it be that everything I said was fake? Yes. Master Subhuti nodded his head, and said indifferently, In truth, Su Yun, within the cultivation that you possess, there is still a portion that is fake. Hearing that, Su Yun immediately understood. Teacher, what you are referring to is the cultivation obtained from absorbing cultivation coins. That's right, that's what I'm talking about. The Master Subhuti said indifferently. Cultivation is obtained through cultivation. True cultivation is obtained through one's own cultivation, not by absorbing the cultivation of others. This is just an opportunistic method. What we need is to experience and comprehend in the process of cultivation. It is a type of tempering of the physical body and spirit, and not to rely on external objects to forcefully fill it up. This kind of cultivation is simply fake and does not exist. But the fact that they relied on the profound coin to become an incredible supreme expert is a real thing. Su Yun asked, how can this be real? If that's the case, why would you think that their temperament is not good? Why would you ask me this question? The Master Subhuti laughed. Hearing that, Su Yun became silent. A true expert has the heart of heaven and earth, exists between all living things, accepts all rivers into the sea, is big, does not look down on the weak, does not fear the strong, from the beginning to the end, maintains a calm and peaceful heart. What I teach is a talent that can be taught. Those who truly possess great wisdom, I will not teach them, nor do I need to teach them. They need me to teach them, and I want to teach them, and my so-called teaching is actually just a simple enlightenment. The Master Subhuti said. This student has learned his lesson. Su Yun, actually, from the first time I saw you, I felt that you were special and mystical. This is a mystical thing that is different from the other students. Perhaps you have not noticed it for so many years, but I have. The Master Subhuti said as he looked at Su Yun seriously. Magical? Su Yun was confused. Teacher, what do you mean? The Master Subhuti shook his head lightly, but smiled without saying a word. Su Yun was even more suspicious. After chatting with the Master Subhuti for a full 3 days, Su Yun finally bade farewell. This trip had truly benefited him greatly, although his cultivation did not increase at all, but his mental state had a significant improvement. The ultimate martial sacred plane was indeed extraordinary, but when he first stepped foot in this place, he had already met a great sage like the Master Subhuti. He did not know what the other great sages would be like. Su Yun's heart was filled with anticipation. If he was not in a hurry to find his parents, he really wanted to visit every single sage in the ultimate martial sacred plane. Taking out the Bodhi leaf that the Master Subhuti had given him, Su Yun activated the profound chi and activated the leaf. In an instant, the leaf released waves of dark green light. It was extremely dazzling, and then, the leaf suddenly left Su Yun's palm and flew forward. Su Yun immediately followed the leaf and ran forward. The leaf seemed to be blown by the wind as it spun in the air. It was light and melodious, very agile. It floated in the air and did not fall. Under Ye's lead, Su Yun climbed over the mountain, crossed the river, and also passed by many cultivation grounds set up by the spirit cultivator. Finally, he arrived in front of a vast sea of flowers. This was an extremely beautiful sea of flowers. Su Yun stood at the edge of the sea of flowers and looked over, only to see a multicolored and beautiful scene in front of him. A fragrance that could intoxicate one's soul assaulted his nose. One could see that above this strange sea of flowers, there were many palm-sized humanoid spirits flying around the 100-flower plate. These elves were very good-looking. The men were handsome and the women were beautiful. Their bodies were slender and exquisite, and there was a pair of bright and elite wings on their backs. Some elves wore clothes made of leaves, while others were completely naked. They were not afraid of being seen from head to toe. The leaf fell from the sky and returned to Su Yun's palm. Su Yun carefully kept the leaf, and then went down the sea of flowers and walked towards the center. In the center of the sea of flowers, there was a towering tree that seemed to connect to the sky above. The tree was lush with leaves, and its huge branches and leaves covered the entire sea of flowers. Traces of light seeped out from the leaves and leaves, making the flowers beside the tree seem even more wonderful and beautiful. Su Yun looked at the huge tree, and saw that there were many magical and agile spirit beasts on top of the tree. There was a single-horned seven-colored cicada, a four-armed spirit monkey, and even a snow-white, exquisite and cute spirit cat. When Su Yun barged into the sea of flowers, the spirit beasts and elves all stared at him. Some of the elves were scared away and flew around, while the larger spirit beasts cautiously approached. "Who are you?" When Su Yun entered the area covered by the giant tree, a lion with a fiery red mane walked over and roared at Su Yun. "I am Su Yun, and I am here to find the entrance to the Wanhua realm. May I ask everyone, is this the entrance?" Su Yun said humbly and seriously. "The entrance to the Wanhua realm?" The red-haired lion snorted. "Another person who wants to enter the Wanhua realm? Why don't you guys know what's good for you? The gatekeeper of the Wanhua realm will not let you in, you should leave quickly. I sincerely wish to enter the Wanhua realm. If Senior knows the location of the gatekeeper seniors, please inform me. I will be extremely grateful." Su Yun cupped his fists and said, "What sincerity? Everyone who comes here calls out their sincerity, but in reality? Aren't they all greedy for the resources of the Wanhua realm? Originally, the Wanhua realm was open to the people of your ultimate martial world, but when you went to the Wanhua realm, you continued to do evil, and did all sorts of evil things, which caused the anger of the people of the Wanhua realm, and restricted the people of your ultimate martial world from entering the Wanhua realm. You still want to go in now? Humph, that's impossible," the red-haired lion said. "You are not the gatekeeper of the Wanhua realm. What's the use of saying all this?" Seeing that the red-haired lion was unwilling to point the way, Su Yun decided not to ask him anymore, and directly walked past it towards the big tree. His intuition told him that the gate to the Wanhua realm was definitely on this tree. The red-haired lion did not stop him, and the other spirit beasts did the same. They only surrounded Su Yun, looking at him curiously, and followed Su Yun's footsteps. Su Yun looked around carefully, and his heart became a little vigilant. However, just as he was about to approach the big tree, two strange and mysterious auras descended from the sky, covering his head. Su Yun's heart tensed up and he retreated a few steps. A ray of light flashed in front of him, followed by a voice that floated into his ears. "Greedy people of the ultimate martial world, quickly leave. Do not come any closer, otherwise, I will make sure that you will not be able to return." His voice was ice-cold, filled with killing intent and hostility. "Who knows how many of these annoying flies come here every day? Don't tell me you people haven't learned your lesson? Do you think that we will let you enter the Wanhua realm so easily?" The one who spoke was a woman. Her voice was extremely arrogant, filled with contempt and disdain. Hearing that, Su Yun frowned. He was a little unhappy, but in order to quickly head to the Wanhua realm, no matter how unhappy he was, he could only endure it. Su Yun took out the nameplate given to him by the Master Subhoodie, then held it with both hands and said calmly, "Are the two seniors of the Wanhua realm? I am Su Yun, a student of one of the 5 sages, Master Subhoodie. I have urgent matters to attend to in the Wanhua realm. I hope that the two seniors can accommodate me and allow me to cross realms. This is what teacher asked me to give to the two of you." With that, he handed over the nameplate. Chapter 559. "Oh? Master Subhoodies?" The man was stunned. The light gradually disappeared, and then a man and a woman appeared within the light. The two of them were dressed in emerald green robes. The man was handsome and the woman was beautiful and elegant. Both of their temperaments were excellent, giving off an exceptionally amiable feeling, as well as an indescribable sense of elegance and excellence. However, the two of them were still looking at Su Yun with a trace of vigilance in their eyes. It could be said that there was an unconcealable disgust in the depths of their eyes. Su Yun understood where their disgust came from. It seemed that the people of ultimate martial world had been completely rejected by the Wanhua realm all these years. The man's name was Mu Gui and the woman's name was Mu Ying. The two of them had been guarding this place for 30 years, and when the Wanhua realm started to restrict the people of ultimate martial world from entering, they were sent here. Mu Gui received the nameplate from Su Yun and placed his hand on it. In an instant, the nameplate released circles of emerald green light. He knew that the nameplate given to him by the Master Subhoodie was definitely a magic tool, but he did not know what its effects were. The light rippled outwards in circles. Very quickly, the light dissipated, and an old and kind voice floated out from the nameplate. "May I ask if you are my friend Mu Gui? Master Subhoodie, is that you?" Mu Gui looked at the nameplate and asked. "It's me." Master Subhoodie's laughing voice came out from the nameplate. "I heard your voice. I believe you have already seen my student Su Yun." "I saw it." Mu Gui raised his head and looked at Su Yun, and said indifferently, "He is right in front of me." "Since that's the case, then this time, I will have to ask you, Mu Gui, to make an exception. My student wants to go to the Wanhua realm to find his parents. His family is higher than the heavens. His parents are bigger than the heavens. This child has a sincere heart. It is rare and precious. Please let him enter the Wanhua realm," Master Subhoodie said. Hearing that, Mu Gui was silent for a moment, then shook his head. "Master, it is not that I am merciless, it is just that the current Wanhua realm has already been messed up by the people of the ultimate martial world. It is a mess. If we continue to let these people in, I am afraid the Wanhua realm will be destroyed. I guarantee that after stepping into the Wanhua realm, I will not touch a single flower, a single blade, a single tree, a single leaf, and will abide by the rules of the Wanhua realm. I will always remember Senior's instructions, and after I find my father and mother, I will immediately leave the Wanhua realm." Su Yun immediately cupped his fists and said, his voice sonorous and serious. Right now, he only wanted to see his parents as soon as possible. Even if the Wanhua realm was the gold realm or the silver realm, he did not care. "Mu Gui, Mu Ying, this child has already said it like this. What are you still worried about? If it really doesn't work, I'm willing to take responsibility for their actions. Can you give me face and allow him to enter?" At this time, the Master Subhoodie interrupted again, and an aged voice came out from the nameplate. This, Mu Gui was silent. Mu Gui, the Master Subhoodie, is a great sage. Even the elders of the Wanhua realm are extremely respectful to him. It's rare for him to speak today, so it's not good for us to reject him. Seeing that Mu Gui was hesitating, Mu Ying spoke up. Mu Gui nodded his head, raised his head again, looked at Su Yun, and sized him up for a long while, then said, "Since the master has spoken, if I were to reject him, it would be disrespectful to you. Although the Wanhua realm has restricted the people of the ultimate martial world from entering, it has not reached the point of rejecting them. Then Subhoodie will thank the two of you on behalf of my student." The Master Subhoodie laughed. "No need." Mu Gui shook his head. Hearing that, Su Yun was overjoyed. He immediately cupped his fists towards the two people in front of him. "Thank you too, thank you, teacher. Remember what you said before. Once you enter the Wanhua realm, you must abide by the rules there. Don't lose your dignity as a teacher," the Master Subhoodie instructed, and then, the light on the nameplate gradually dissipated. Mu Gui handed the nameplate over to Su Yun, who carefully received it, then turned and walked towards the towering tree. "Follow us." The lady called Mu Ying crossed her arms across her chest and said indifferently to Su Yun, then followed Mu Gui and leaped up, soaring into the sky. Su Yun anxiously followed closely behind and flew up. The big tree was extremely large, and from below one could see the incomparably thick tree trunk, while the top was even more so a different world. As they continued to ascend, more and more scenes appeared in front of their eyes. They could see that the tree was densely packed with spirit beasts. The big ones were 3 to 4 meters tall, and they were curled up on the thick branches, resting with their eyes closed, while the small ones were only an inch long, standing on the branches, looking curiously at Su Yun. Specks of sunlight seeped out from the dense leaves and shone down, rendering the place beautiful. There were also a large number of red and purple fruits floating in the air. They did not grow on the leaves, but floated there as if they were ownerless objects. Many spirit beasts could be seen casually grabbing a fruit and eating it heartily. The surrounding scene was harmonious, causing people to be unable to help but sigh in their hearts. Very quickly, Mu Gui and Mu Ying, who were leading the way, slowed down. Su Yun raised his head to look, and with just a glance, he was shocked. A thick, long, and enormous branch appeared above. This branch was nearly 10 meters wide, and its length was even more difficult to calculate. It directly extended out lush branches and leaves, growing outward. This tree was mysterious, and the largest branch was probably this one. At the top of the tree were buildings scattered all over the place. It was like a village, and there were many short elves walking back and forth in the village. In the middle of the village was a 3-meter-tall wooden door. The wooden door was wrapped in vines, and the door was tightly shut. Specks of light seeped out from the cracks of the door. Su Yun looked at the wooden door, and felt that the light that seeped out from the crack was extremely mysterious. This place was simply like a paradise. Everything seemed so harmonious and beautiful. Green leaves, colorful flowers, fresh fruits, elves. Master Mu Gui, Master Mu Ying. When the elves saw the man and woman flying over, they all ran out and shouted excitedly. Mu Gui and Mu Ying's tensed faces finally revealed a kind and amiable smile. They flew over and stood together with the elves. They lowered their heads and smiled as they said something to them. Both of their faces were shining with light, making people feel extremely close to them. Seeing that, Su Yun could not help but stop. He stood in the air and watched the scene from afar. He still remembered that the Master Subhoodie had once said that these two were people with great wisdom. Although the two of them did not say anything that was rich in philosophy, the feeling they gave off at this moment was like that of a sage. That indescribable feeling of perfection and mystery was simply unforgettable. The two of them talked with the elves for a while, then turned their heads and said to Su Yun, "Come over, we will open the door to the Wanhua realm for you. I hope that after you enter the Wanhua realm, you will remember what you said before, abide by everything in the Wanhua realm, and treat that place as your own home. After all, that's our home." Mu Ying followed up. Hearing that, Su Yun's expression was extremely serious. He cupped his fists and bowed to the two of them. "I will definitely remember this." Mu Gui and Mu Ying nodded lightly. After that, the two of them, accompanied by the elves, walked towards the wooden door. The two of them stood on the left and right, each of them extending a hand and pressing it on the door. They closed their eyes and started chanting, causing a large amount of dazzling light to appear in their palms, followed by a wung-wung sound that rippled in the air. Very quickly, crash, the door slowly opened, and a dazzling light leaked out from within, the Wanhua realm's gate. After entering the Wanhua realm, he would be able to find his parents once he headed to the Linglong mountain. Su Yun was extremely excited. His eyes were filled with an unconcealable passion. He was ready to make a move, and his body involuntarily flew towards the door. How many years had it been? How many days had it been? How many years had it been? Although the days in the Su family were unbearable to him, no matter what happened, he would never forget that he was the son of Su Shintian and Shin Shueshua, and his name was Su Yun. "Father, mother, your child is here." Su Yun looked at the dazzling door and muttered. Very soon, they would meet again, whiz. At this moment, a scarlet arrow suddenly shot out from the dense foliage of the forest, heading straight for them. The sharp arrow flew at an abnormally fast speed, and almost all the surrounding creatures did not have time to react. Su Yun was thinking about his parents, and did not notice it in time. When he sensed the arrow flying towards him, the arrow had already approached Mu Ying, who was opening the door. The two of them were so focused on opening the door that they did not notice the sharp arrow behind them. Su Yun's eyes widened and he anxiously roared, "Be careful!" "What?" Mu Gui and Mu Ying were startled. They turned their heads, but the arrow had already attacked them. An ear-piercing sound came out. The incomparably sharp blood-red arrow pierced through Mu Ying's shoulder, nailing her to the wooden door behind her. Mu Ying let out a painful cry. "Who is it? Who was the one who stabbed me in the back? Who is it?" Mu Gui's eyes were spewing flames. He glared at his surroundings and shouted loudly. The dense foliage in the surroundings was suddenly cut apart by a large amount of blood-red devil chi. Countless creatures did not have the time to dodge the terrifying devil chi and were directly chopped into pieces. Following that, a large number of figures descended from the sky and rushed towards them. Wanhua Realm's gatekeeper? Back then, you and the others did not allow us to enter the Wanhua Realm. Today, I want to see if you still dare to not allow us to enter the Wanhua Realm. A cold voice floated out, and then, a tall and thin figure flew over. The auras around these figures were extremely cold, and they were suffused with an astonishing and terrifying ruthless aura. They were like demons from the abyss, devil chi. Su Yun's heart tensed up. He stared at the existences that had just appeared, and his relaxed heart tensed up again. Chapter 560. In the blink of an eye, there were more than 30 figures. Looking closely, they were all Devil Cultivator-s. Some of them were dressed in armor, some of them were dressed in feathered robes, all of them had different attire, but all of them had extremely terrifying chi. Every single one of them had a cultivation of Sky Spirit Master. They were in a ring shape, wrapping the entire village tightly. The devil chi that filled the sky dyed the big tree in an extremely strange manner. The flowers were no longer bright, and the green leaves were no longer bright. The light gradually faded, and all the vitality seemed to have turned into nothingness at this moment. Demon Dweller. So many demon dwellers? Why did so many demon dwellers appear all of a sudden? Su Yun only regained his senses after a long while. Looking at the pale Mu Ying whose shoulder was pierced through, he knew that the situation today was not as good as he had imagined. Are you the devil dwellers that came a while ago? Mu Gui pulled out the blood arrow, supported Mu Ying, stared at the surrounding devil cultivator, and asked angrily. "Looks like you haven't forgotten us. Not bad, not bad. You still have some memory. This is good too. We don't have to introduce ourselves." A slightly plump female demon dweller flew over. She looked at Mu Gui frivolously and said in a mocking tone, "You want to enter the Wanhua Realm?" Mu Gui clenched his teeth and asked, "Since you know, then quickly open the door to the Wanhua Realm. Otherwise we will have to open the door ourselves." A male devil dweller with a braid and a red horn the size of a finger on his head said coldly, "The last time the two of us came over to request to enter the Wanhua Realm, you refused, and in the end, we fought and were defeated by you. I admit that our cultivation is not as good as the two of you, but now there are 30 devil cultivator experts here. I want to see what other abilities the two of you have to contend against us." The female devil cultivator laughed, her face full of pride. When Mu Gui heard this, he immediately gritted his teeth. Mu Ying shook her head lightly and said, "Devil cultivator is a devil cultivator, greedy and brutal, not knowing what's good for them. Last time we spared their lives and let them go, but we never thought that they would actually repay kindness with enmity. If we knew that today would happen, we would not have shown any mercy back then, and would have directly killed you all." "What? Do you regret it?" The female devil cultivator laughed. "I regret it, but what can I do? Do you think that just because you have more people, the two of us will be afraid of you?" Mu Gui snorted. "From your words, it seems like you won't obediently open the door to the Wanhua Realm?" The horned male devil cultivator asked. "We would rather let that person from the ultimate martial world enter the Wanhua Realm than let you devil cultivator enter," Mu Gui said solemnly. "Since that's the case, don't blame us for being impolite. The demonic cultivator seemed to have lost his patience. He snorted and waved his hand. In that moment, all the devil cultivators in the surroundings rushed towards Mu Gue and Mu Ying with all their might. Demonic chi gathered in the air to form a huge and sinister mouth, which viciously and cruelly bit towards the two of them. That aura was so strong that it was suffocating. Seeing that, Mu Gue and Mu Ying immediately used all of their techniques and struck towards the sky. The two of them released tens of thousands of emerald green palm images, their auras exploding out. They were actually not the slightest bit weaker than the devil cultivator. As the gatekeepers of the Wanhua realm, the two of them were naturally not weak. Normally, these 30 devil cultivators would not be considered much, but now, Mu Ying had suffered a sneak attack, and her fighting strength had dropped greatly. Her shoulder was still suffused with a dark red color, as though she had been poisoned, and every time she activated the profound chi, she would feel extreme pain, and the profound chi that she activated was also extremely sparse. In order to protect Mu Ying from harm, Mu Gue had also used all of his strength, but in order to protect Mu Ying, his own body had been greatly restricted, causing the strength he was currently displaying to be incomparable to the past. The attacks of these 30 devil cultivators were extremely ferocious. Most of them did not rely on magic treasures to attack, but purely relied on their own hands. The devil cultivator's hands turned into sharp claws, crazily attacking. Every claw could release tens of thousands of devil chi-s. The devil chi was thousands of times stronger than sulfuric acid. Ordinary spirit cultivators that touched it would definitely turn into blood and die, but Mu Gue and Mu Ying were not injured, but the profound chi that was protecting their bodies was quickly being consumed. Mu Ying struggled to hold onto a slender bamboo stick, and continuously danced in all directions. A large amount of dense spirit life chi floated outwards, isolating the dense and terrifying devil chi, while Mu Gue took out a slender curved blade, blocking the demon claws that were attacking him from all directions. It was extremely strenuous for Mu Gue. These devil cultivators seemed to know that Mu Gue was not easy to deal with, so they focused all of their energy to kill Mu Ying. Protecting others and protecting themselves were two completely different concepts, and the female devil cultivator and the horned devil cultivator were specifically attacking Mu Gue. Despicable! Sensing the other party's intentions, Mu Ying could not help but curse. Ha ha ha, there are a lot of people who call us despicable. I don't care about your words. The female devil cultivator laughed out loud. Hearing that, Mu Ying was enraged. She wanted to retaliate and attack the female devil cultivator, but when she suddenly activated her chi, she felt a sweetness in her throat, and spat out a mouthful of blood, almost fainting. Mu Ying! Mu Gue shouted anxiously. An opportunity! The horned devil cultivator's blood-red eyes flashed with a sharp light. His claw released a ball of flame-like red light, fiercely and ruthlessly smashing towards Mu Gue's head. Mu Gue was shocked. He anxiously raised the weapon in his hand to block. Because he was too hasty, the profound strength could not keep up. The blade trembled crazily from the claw attack. Mu Gue, who was carrying Mu Ying, was also forced to retreat. The two of them crashed into the wooden door at the same time. The devil cultivator immediately surrounded the two of them. The female devil cultivator was accumulating her devil power as she walked towards the two of them step by step. Her blood-red eyes were filled with ridicule. That demon arrow was refined using my blood essence, and fused with my true devil realm's incomparably famous heart-lost soul poison. Now, every once in a while, you will lose a portion of your life, and after 6 hours, no matter what your cultivation is, you will die completely, and not even your soul will remain. Right now, it is slowly eating you, and you have no way of fighting back. If you are willing to open the door to the Wanhua realm for us, maybe we will consider letting you go. How about it? Are you willing to open the door for us? The female devil cultivator laughed. Don't even think about it. Mu Ying practically did not even think, and directly shouted back. Hearing that, the female devil cultivator's smile froze, a trace of anger flashed past her blood-red eyes. What did you say? Don't refuse a toast and drink a forfeit. Do you really think that we won't kill you? What's there to talk about with you, devil cultivator? Do you think we don't know the purpose of your trip to the Wanhua realm? You still want to enter the Wanhua realm? Humph, since we are the gatekeepers, we will never submit to you. If you want to kill us, then kill us. But let me remind you, if we die, you will definitely not be able to live either. Mu Gui growled. As soon as these words fell, it was like a needle piercing into the hearts of the devil cultivator. All of the devil cultivator were enraged. The horned devil cultivator was even more enraged, his eyes surging with killing intent. Reckless. Don't you know your own situation? Since that's the case, then go to hell, go to hell. With a furious roar, the horned devil cultivator rushed forward. The dense devil chi was like a meteor falling from the sky, fiercely smashing towards the two of them. Seeing that, Mu Gui was about to take out his magic treasure to defend, but the surrounding devil cultivators seemed to know what Mu Gui was thinking, and immediately rushed over, launching a torrential attack on him. The male tiger could not hold back the pack of wolves, adding on Mu Ying's restraint. Mu Gui did not have time to defend. The horned devil cultivator was already close. In almost an instant, the devil cultivators that were attacking Mu Gui immediately retreated, leaving the last attack to the horned devil cultivator. Mu Gui opened his eyes wide, looking at the incoming devil cultivator in shock. The magic treasure in his hand was held tightly by him. Mu Ying shifted her gaze to Mu Gui. Her eyes were filled with gentleness, as though she did not care about this fatal blow at all. We've done our best, Mu Ying said softly. Hearing that, Mu Gui finally loosened his grip. He shifted his gaze to Mu Ying. He nodded lightly, and did not say anything else. At this point, there was nothing they could do. They had already fulfilled their duty as gatekeepers, so why should they force themselves? The horned devil cultivator did not hold back at all. His hand was like a meteor, striking straight for his heart. After killing you, we will forcefully break open the door ourselves. The Wanhua realm is rich in resources. It will definitely belong to our true devil realm. You guys should just turn into dust on the ground and die completely. The sharp claws struck, and everything seemed to end in that instant. Dong! At this moment, a loud sound rang out. A terrifying power spread out in all directions of the giant tree, shaking it. Countless creatures were awakened and fled in panic. The inside and outside of the giant tree was in chaos. Devil cultivator all turned to look. However, what they saw was not what they had expected. Mu Gui was not pierced through the heart by the horned devil cultivator's claw, but instead a huge fist smashed the horned devil cultivator down from the branch, fiercely smashing it into the soil. What? All the devil cultivators were stunned. An incomparably huge devil bone giant had unknowingly appeared beside Mu Gui and Mu Ying. The giant's eyes were cruel, domineering and fierce as it stared at the devil cultivators. It smashed down on the horned devil cultivator with its fist, but it did not end its attack. Instead, it retracted its fist, raised its foot, and fiercely stomped on the horned devil cultivator. Dong! Yet another loud sound rang out. The giant tree shook again. What is this? The female devil cultivator asked in shock. Devil chi, a different type of devil chi has appeared. Another devil cultivator shouted. At this time, all the devil cultivators saw a person wearing a black cloak standing on the giant's shoulder. This person raised his head, and a pale face appeared in their line of sight. On this pale face, there was also a pair of terrifying blood-red eyes. The strong wind blew his cloak, and a slender, pitch-black sword was tightly gripped by him. The entire giant tree suddenly became silent. Chapter 561. Devil Cultivator? The female devil cultivator stared at Su Yun, who was standing on Devil Bone Giant's shoulder, and asked, "Are you from the true devil realm? May I ask which sex expert is it?" "I am not from the true devil realm," Su Yun held onto the death sword and shouted at the female devil cultivator. Hearing that, the female devil cultivator was startled. But the devil chi on your body, Su Yun did not want to explain. He opened his blood-red eyes and stared coldly at the devil cultivator and shouted coldly. Either you leave quickly or you fight me in blood. I will not make any other comments. He was about to see his parents, but he did not expect that a group of devil cultivator would appear halfway through. If not for them, he might have already entered the Wanhua realm, and was already on his way to the Linglong mountain. Thinking about it, Su Yun's heart surged with hatred, and his eyes that looked at the devil cultivator became even redder. What big words! If we don't fight with you, how will we have the face to return to the true devil realm in the future? The female devil cultivator snorted, her eyes spewing fire. Set up the devil area true/formation. I want to personally destroy this wild devil cultivator's body, take out his soul, and refine my devil essence. Following the female devil cultivator's words, the surrounding devil cultivator immediately spread out, all of them moving like the wind. Their chi seemed to be berserk. They started to move quickly. The entire ancient tree seemed to be surrounded by a black storm. Its aura was astonishing. Dong! Just then, a muffled sound came from beneath Devil Bone Giant's feet, and a figure flew out in a sorry state. Looking closely, this person was the horned devil cultivator that was stepped on by Devil Bone Giant earlier. At this moment, he was in a sorry state. His clothes were in tatters, his skin was covered in cracks, and a large amount of devil chi leaked out. In fact, the strength of the horned devil cultivator's body was not low, but when he attacked Mu Gue just now, when the profound chi exploded, he was suddenly attacked by the Devil Bone Giant, causing the profound chi in his body to be in a mess, causing more than half of his body to be destroyed, and he was severely injured. Thistles, don't act recklessly. First kill these two gatekeepers, break open the Wanhua Realm's gate, and then go take care of other matters. Don't forget our mission. This devil cultivator is very strong, don't waste too much energy on him. The horned devil cultivator shouted in a hoarse and weak voice. But the female devil cultivator did not care at all. She continued to shout for the devil cultivator to set up a formation to deal with Su Yun, then turned her head and snorted at the horned devil cultivator. One-headed, are you still so naive? If you don't kill this person, do you think you can deal with these two gatekeepers? Don't be silly. This person is going against us to protect them. But we don't have much time left. The two of them must have informed the experts of the Wanhua realm. If we cannot open the door in a short period of time, then we won't have any more chances. Since that's the case, let's make our move quickly. The female devil cultivator shouted, then rushed towards Su Yun. From afar, she opened her mouth and spat out a blood-red arrow, piercing towards Su Yun. As the sharp arrows flew over, they exploded midway, turning into fine arrows that were as dense as raindrops, rustling as they flew. The slender arrow was so sharp that it seemed to be able to pierce through the air. However, the female devil cultivator naturally did not only have these methods, she actually retreated a few meters, swung her arms, and her 10 fingers that were as slender as swords fiercely pierced towards Su Yun. The 10 fingers actually extended infinitely, increasing the distance by more than 10 meters, and directly pierced forward. She had targeted the 10 vital points of the main chi meridian on Su Yun's body. Once it was pierced, the profound chi in Su Yun's body would definitely be in chaos, without needing to attack. His own body would be smashed into pieces by the turbulent profound chi, turning into meat chunks and completely dying. Facing the rain of attacks, Su Yun was naturally not afraid. He took out the 7th-tier Imperial equipment and activated it. The profound strength in his body continuously surged towards the flag in his hand. In an instant, a thick chi cover was formed. Clang, 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 the flying arrows and the female devil cultivator's 10 fingers smashed onto the chi cover, causing it to shake uncontrollably, causing ripples to surge outward. However, the chi cover was completely unharmed, without the slightest bit of damage. The female devil cultivator's eyes widened as she looked on in shock. What? A large amount of smoke blew from the side and enveloped Su Yun, causing Su Yun's vision to be completely blocked. Not only that, it was as if he was isolated, and all movements outside had disappeared. Su Yun did not dare to remove the Imperial Equipment's barrier. His gaze swept across the pitch-black surroundings, only to see that there seemed to be a figure moving in the darkness. Was it those devil cultivators? Su Yun thought. Whiz. Just then, the devil chi above suddenly opened up, as if it had been forcefully torn apart by something. Following that, an incomparably huge and terrifying devil blade that seemed to be able to split the sky slashed down from above. Dong! An earth-shattering explosion sounded out. The 7th-tier Imperial equipment suffered an unprecedented ferocious slash. The entire place started to shake violently. A large amount of profound chi fell from the barrier, as if the barrier could collapse at any time. Was this the formation that the devil cultivator had used? It was indeed not a small matter. Su Yun's eyes congealed. How could he dare to hesitate at all? With a swing of his arm, the profound chi circulated crazily, the runes on his arm flickered non-stop, and rays of light broke through the dense devil chi, breaking through the dense leaves and branches, and shot straight into the sky. The sky darkened, and the sunlight that shone on the towering tree disappeared without a trace. The dark clouds above the tree quickly rotated, and then a strange light fell towards the shuttle. Devil chi, what a dense devil chi! The horned devil cultivator shouted loudly. The female devil cultivator ignored him, and continued to urge the other devil cultivator to attack Su Yun, who was surrounded by the devil chi. One after another, the devil slash descended from above, as if a peerless giant devil was standing outside the sky, launching an apocalyptic attack at Su Yun. The profound chi in Su Yun's body was quickly consumed. Like a leaking balloon, the 7th-tier Imperial equipment was already in danger, and could collapse at any time. But in that moment of life and death, all 7 devil bone giants appeared, standing around the giant tree. Those pairs of bloody eyes that were like the sun stared fiercely at the horned devil cultivator and the others. The tyrannical devil chi enveloped the world, causing the entire tree to tremble. The female devil cultivator, the horned devil cultivator and the others were all shocked by the sudden appearance of the giant. Feeling the aura emitted from the devil bone giant, all of the devil cultivators' hearts jumped, and their souls were intimidated. This aura is so familiar, it seems to be Lord Een Mo's aura. It's Lord Een Mo's aura. The horned devil cultivator seemed to have sensed something, and as if he had just woken up from a dream, he let out a heart-wrenching roar. What? Lord Een Mo? This is impossible. Lord Een Mo has already died. This is impossible. The female devil cultivator shouted at him. We must retreat immediately. The horned devil cultivator calmed down, his face frighteningly pale. No way. The female devil cultivator clenched her teeth and said angrily, Since things have come to this, we no longer have a reason to retreat. No matter who he is, I will kill him. With that, the female devil cultivator took out a blood-red needle and threw it into the air. The blood needles flew through the air and split into dozens of them, striking into the heads of the other devil cultivators like lightning. In the blink of an eye, the devil chi around the devil cultivators increased crazily, and in a short while, the cultivation of each of the devil cultivators had nearly doubled. These were all existences above the sky spirit master. Although Su Yun did not know their specific cultivation levels, at that moment, he understood that these fellows' cultivation levels had already far surpassed his own. Even if he used the 7 devil bone giants, it would still be very difficult to defeat them. No matter who you are today, you must be used by me to feed the demon essence. No one can save you. The female devil cultivator roared. All the devil cultivators extended their palms and attacked Su Yun crazily. When every devil cultivator's palm struck out again, a gigantic mountain flew out and smashed towards Su Yun. Every mountain was pitch black, and contained sharp bones and boiling hot blood inside, like a bomb that was as big as a mountain. Dong, dong, dong. The 7 giants smashed through the leaves and rushed over, surrounding Su Yun in the middle. When the black mountains smashed onto their bodies, they immediately released one explosion after another, causing boiling blood to spurt out from the mountains, splashing onto the giants' bodies. The giant was dyed red with blood and white smoke billowed out. However, it remained unmoving and stood firm. Su Yun's mind instructs, in a second, was given, the order was transmitted, the 7 giants began to move, they withstood the attacks from all directions, facing the devil cultivators that were quickly revolving around the devil chi, their huge fists smashed towards them. Facing such a terrifying attack, the devil cultivators were all alarmed and hastily dodged. One of the devil cultivators was unable to dodge in time and was directly punched to the ground. The giant's power caused his skin to split open and his profound chi to collapse. Seeing the miserable state of the devil cultivator, the rest of the devil cultivators felt their scalps go numb. However, although the giant was strong, it was not to the point where they did not even have the ability to fight. Ancient devil arts. One of the devil cultivators shouted in a low voice, chanting incantations that were difficult to pronounce. The devil chi around his body quickly arranged itself, transforming into a gigantic seal word that floated in the air. His hands danced quickly, as though he was accumulating some profound chi. After a few breaths, the devil cultivator's hands pushed forward, and the gigantic seal word shot towards one of the devil bone giants like lightning, directly smashing into its chest. In the blink of an eye, the devil bone giant's movements slowed down. Not only its speed, even its aura, strength, and so on had dropped rapidly, as though it had been forcefully pulled down by countless levels. Compared to before, its strength was like the difference between heaven and earth. What? Seeing that, Su Yun frowned. Ancient devil arts! Ancient devil arts! The other devil cultivators all shouted loudly, activating this strange devil art. Looking at their imposing manner, it was obvious that they wanted to use this miraculous devil art to restrict all of the devil bone giants. The situation was not good. Su Yun held onto the death sword tightly, staring at one of the devil cultivators, planning to personally rush over and kill it. Although he was able to fight against these devil cultivators, he was completely relying on the strength of these devil bone giants. Once the giant's power was restricted, with his cultivation that was not even at the Sky Spirit Master, it would be difficult for him to gain an advantage against these devil cultivators. At this point, there was no other choice. Wanhua heart cleansing incantation. At this moment, a loud shout came from the door. Chapter 562. This voice? It was Mu Gui's? Su Yun turned his head to look, only to see that Mu Gui and Mu Ying had already activated their profound strength, and were using profound technique to support Su Yun. Mu Gui's hands released an emerald green light. Following that, a bit of green light flew out and struck one of the devil bone giant's body. In an instant, the surface of the devil bone giant's huge body was covered with a layer of strange vines. These vines were like armor that spread across the vast body, entangling with each other, densely packed. When these vine-like armors wrapped around the giant's body, the giant's speed, strength, and even its own profound chi changed once again. They grew at an astonishing speed, like wild grass after the rain. Not only that, the blood-red pupils of these giants even had specks of green light. It was extremely magical. The giant's strength had recovered. Not only had it recovered, it was even stronger than before. Mu Gui and Mu Ying's cultivation was higher than these devil cultivators. If Mu Ying had not been hit by the hidden arrow, the two of them would not have been forced into such a state. Now that the two of them had joined hands and used such a mystical and mysterious technique on a giant, how could the devil cultivator seal it? One of the giant's strength increased explosively, and immediately let out an angry roar towards the sky. The angry roar resounded through the sky, and then, with an unparalleled might that covered the sky, it smashed towards one of the devil cultivators who was still sealing the profound technique. The power of the giant's fist was like a torrential river, it was unstoppable. The devil cultivator was shocked and anxiously dodged. But the giant's fist was just too big. When the devil cultivator hastily dodged the fierce fist, on the other side, its other hand had already opened up into a palm and grabbed towards this direction. This palm seemed to be able to support the heavens and earth. It was so big that all the leaves and branches were broken, and the strong palm wind was able to blow a person to pieces. The devil cultivator was immediately caught by the palm, and then the huge palm clenched tightly, crazily crushing the devil cultivator. Ah! The devil cultivator let out a mournful scream. Every sound was soul-stirring, his voice was hysterical, causing those who heard it to feel their scalps splitting, and the pain was unbearable. A large amount of devil chi seeped out from the gigantic white hand. Following that, the voice of the devil cultivator gradually faded, and very quickly, there was no more sound. A devil cultivator died miserably just like that. Seeing this, the female devil cultivator and the horned devil cultivator were extremely shocked. Whoa! The giant that was sealed by the devil cultivator broke free from its restraints and regained its strength. The two devil bone giants opened their huge mouths and sucked in the devil chi that leaked out from the devil cultivator's body. The devil chi was like many small snakes that swarmed into their mouths, and in a short while, all the devil chi was sucked dry. After the devil cultivator died, the devil essence exploded, but these two magic tools can actually absorb the devil essence. These must be Lord Enmo's magic tools. The horned devil cultivator screamed. Enmo? Could it be that this wild devil is related to Lord Enmo? The female devil cultivator's heart turned sinister. Thinking about the Enmo who had killed his way up to the god realm, she panicked. It had to be known that Enmo was a supreme existence in the true devil realm, a legendary figure. Even though he was already dead, in the true devil realm, his legend was still being spread everywhere. His grave was spread throughout the entire true devil realm, no matter which devil it was. Before passing by Lord Enmo's grave, they had to kowtow seriously. If not for his contribution, the devil sect would have been destroyed, and once the devil sect was destroyed, the gates of the true devil realm would open, and at that time, not to mention those immortal gods, even people from other realms would be able to enter and leave the true devil realm at will. The two devil bone giants seemed to have gone mad as they attacked the devil cultivators who were supporting the sealing technique. They received Su Yun's orders to abandon the female devil cultivator and the horned devil cultivator, and only grabbed the devil cultivators who had used the sealing technique to attack. Since the battle has already begun, there's no room for redemption. The horned devil cultivator forced himself to calm down. He raised his head to look at Su Yun, who was standing on the branch, and growled, "Kill that wild devil cultivator first, kill him, and these magic tools will break on their own." With that, he urged his broken body to rush towards Su Yun. "Do two, you attack from the left, I will attack from the right." Activating these magic tools requires a large amount of profound chi. There are 7 magic tools here. I'm afraid he doesn't have much profound strength left. He definitely won't be able to block our attacks. The female devil cultivator shouted. She then took a step forward, devil chi surged, and like a ferocious beast, she charged towards Su Yun. "All right." The horned devil cultivator bellowed. His body suddenly became parallel to the ground, the horn on his head aimed at Su Yun. His entire body suddenly exploded, and with a speed that seemed to teleport, he smashed towards Su Yun. Fast. Too fast. This definitely surpassed the speed of light. Even if Su Yun pushed the Divine Wind Sword technique to its limits, he would still be slower than this speed. The horned devil cultivator's horn directly pierced through Su Yun's chest, and his entire body flew out, smashing into dozens of gigantic tree branches that were close to 5 meters in diameter, and then fell to the ground, smashing into the flower garden. causing a large amount of blood to spill out from the sky. When Su Yun was attacked, the 7 devil bone giants immediately trembled. The giant could not even walk steadily, let alone attack the other party. Not good, he has suffered an attack. The profound chi and command are cut off from the magic tools. Once he dies, the magic tools will stop activating, and we will be finished. Mu Gui exclaimed. Protect Su Yun first. Mu Ying said anxiously. But what about you? You are severely injured right now, so if they attack you, you won't even have the ability to protect yourself. Mu Gui clenched his teeth and said, Don't worry about me. Quick, Mu Gui, once Su Yun dies, we will all die. Do you want me to die alone, or do you want everyone to die together? Mu Ying shouted anxiously. Hearing that, Mu Gui's expression was extremely pained, but as matters stood, he had no other choice. He immediately abandoned Mu Ying, gathered all his strength, and rushed towards Su Yun. Myriad vines! Mu Gui shouted. The ground immediately trembled, and a large number of vines that were as thick as pythons broke out from the ground, binding towards the 2 devil cultivators south that were close to Su Yun. The horned devil cultivator's body was tightly bound. He had suffered an attack earlier and was severely injured, so his current fighting strength was not strong. Facing these vines, it was actually difficult for him to struggle free. On the other hand, the female devil cultivator was extremely powerful. With a low growl, her arms suddenly swelled up and forcefully tore off the thick vines. Don't worry about me, kill that person first. As long as he dies, the magic tool will stop working, and these 2 gatekeepers will not be able to escape death. At that time, the gate to the Wanhua realm will be under our control. The horned devil cultivator shouted. The female devil cultivator nodded, her eyes filled with killing intent as she rushed towards Su Yun, who was struggling to stand up. Facing the female devil cultivator who was brimming with killing intent, Su Yun took a deep breath, stared at the death sword in his hand, and then looked at the female devil cultivator. Whiz! The sword sheath behind him flashed with a white light. Following that, a flash of lightning struck towards the female devil cultivator. The sudden change caused the female devil cultivator to be extremely shocked. She anxiously retreated, not daring to come into contact with the white light. The white light spun in the air and returned to Su Yun's side. When the light disappeared, a lady dressed in a white dress with a face that could topple cities stood beside him. She had black eyebrows and a jade-like face. Her figure was graceful and very beautiful, but at the moment her small face was filled with seriousness. Qingyu, why did you come out? Su Yun said weakly. The wound on his chest was still bleeding, but the blood was all pitch black. You're about to die, and I'm still not coming out? Ling Qingyu said with resentment. I'm not dead yet. Su Yun laughed bitterly. Cut the crap, this devil cultivator is very strong. Even though my cultivation has advanced by leaps and bounds in this period of time, I am still not her match. Ling Qingyu raised his hand, his palm facing Su Yun, and said, Unless it's absolutely necessary, do not recklessly use the power of the death sword. Furthermore, you are currently heavily injured, and cannot withstand the power of the death sword. I can only rely on this sword of mine. Su Yun nodded his head. Without hesitation, he placed the death sword back into the sword sheath, then raised his hand and extended it towards the center of his palm. So you have a helper? The female devil cultivator secretly snorted. She sized Ling Qingyu up. Ling Qingyu did not have any magic treasure on her. Her cultivation was clearly seen by the other party. When she realized that Ling Qingyu did not even have the cultivation of the Sky Spirit Master, the female devil cultivator immediately revealed a disdainful smile. But with this kind of cultivation? Humph! You want to contend against me with just this? You are simply courting death. All of you will become food for my devil essence. The female devil cultivator growled and attacked again. She did not rush towards Su Yun, but attacked Ling Qingyu. From her point of view, there must be a reason for Ling Qingyu's appearance. But just as she got close to Su Yun and Ling Qingyu, a strange scorching heat instantly surrounded her. Before she could even react to what was going on, the female devil cultivator's body was pierced with a few large holes. The intense pain caused her body to tremble a few times. Following that, the female devil cultivator's body was suffused with a scorching white flame. Ah! The female devil cultivator screamed in pain. She anxiously retreated, and activated the profound strength to extinguish the flames on her body. The flames were extremely tenacious, and only after a long while did they extinguish. She anxiously raised her head to look, only to see that in front of Su Yun, there were actually hundreds of flying swords circling around. These flying swords were all invisible and floating in front of him. It turned out that when Su Yun landed, he had secretly taken out the Desolator and the Tribulation Fire Sword, and hid them at the side, waiting for the two Devil Cultivators to attack him. "What is this?" the female Devil Cultivator shouted in shock. "Something that can kill you." Su Yun snorted, then raised his hand, and directly pulled out the contracted sword from Ling Qingyu's palm. When the white whip sword was released, a white light that cut through the darkness immediately appeared around the ancient tree that was enveloped by the devil Qi. Taking advantage of the fact that the female devil cultivator had eaten Desolator and Qi Yang's attacks, Su Yun launched another attack, slashing towards her. The contracted sword was like a raging dragon as it charged forward, the sword's body glowing with light. It was extremely mysterious. The female devil cultivator did not know the depth of the sword, so she did not dare to take it head-on. She could only retreat, dodging left and right. Seeing that, Su Yun immediately activated the Divine Wind Sword technique, wanting to use his speed to control the contracted sword to suppress the female devil cultivator, but before he could completely activate his sword technique, he felt dizzy and almost fainted. Seeing that, Ling Qingyu, who was at the side, anxiously supported him. "Idiot, your injuries are extremely severe, and you are still trying so hard. Don't you know that you don't have much profound qi left in your body? Hurry up and think of a way to escape, don't fight anymore," Ling Qingyu said anxiously. "No, this is the only way to enter the Wanhua realm. If I cannot go to the Wanhua realm, what will happen to my parents?" Su Yun forced himself to remain unconscious and said weakly, "You're such an idiot. If you stay in the Green Mountains, you won't have to worry about firewood. Your parents aren't dead. Are you afraid that you won't be able to see your parents?" Ling Qingyu was so angry that she did not care if Su Yun was willing or not, and immediately carried him on her back to run. But now that the contracted sword was taken out, her cultivation was gone, so where could she run to with Su Yun? Chapter 563. "Qingyu, what are you doing? It's impossible for us to escape. Since that's the case, we might as well go all out. Maybe we'll have a chance of survival." Su Yun raised his head and said weakly to Ling Qingyu, "What are you going to use to fight?" Ling Qingyu opened her eyes wide and looked at him seriously. "Death Sword. Do you think your current body can still withstand the power of the Death Sword? Other than that, we have no other choice. The other party's cultivation is much stronger than ours. Even if we take away the contracted sword, we will not be able to escape. The only thing we can rely on now, other than this death sword, are the two experts from the Wanhua realm. Their strength is not simple. If we work together, we still have a chance of survival. But that person is heavily injured, and the other person has no time to care about you. Even if you join hands, how can you possibly repel these true Devil Realm experts?" "I didn't say we were going to repel them." Su Yun smiled slightly. "All we need to do is defend." "Defense?" Ling Qingyu was startled for a moment, then suddenly understood something, and said in shock, "You mean to say you are waiting for help from the Wanhua realm? This is the gate to the Wanhua realm. If this place is attacked, how can the people of the Wanhua realm not have any news? As long as we hold on for a while longer, the reinforcements from the Wanhua realm will definitely arrive, and at that time, these devil cultivator will not be a problem." "But," Ling Qingyu opened his mouth, wanting to say something. But at this time, the female devil cultivator had already rushed over. You are already dead after eating the horn of a single head. Don't force yourself, quickly submit to my claws. The female devil cultivator shouted loudly, her sharp claws attacking. Her devil power was like a torrential river, pouring down in torrents. Su Yun's eyes flashed with a trace of ruthlessness. He pulled out the death sword and struck horizontally with one hand, coincidentally slashing at the female devil cultivator's palm, then with a wave of his left arm, the contracted sword attacked. Ah! The female devil cultivator opened her mouth and let out a sharp and ear-piercing cry, causing a circle of sound waves to spread out. The incoming contracted sword was blasted away by this strange sound. The female devil cultivator took advantage of the situation and struck Su Yun's shoulder. 5 distinct scars appeared, exposing Su Yun's shoulder bone. The intense pain caused him to break out in a cold sweat. His consciousness was on the verge of collapse, as if he would faint at any moment. However, the more it was so, the more he couldn't relax. Once he fainted, he would never wake up again. Tribulation flame! In this moment of danger, Su Yun roared. Several waves of sword chi emerged from the back of the female devil cultivator, the terrifying sword intent that could pierce one's skin and bones instantly wrapped around her. The female devil cultivator's face changed. She anxiously retreated, only to see hundreds of swords flying over, surrounding her and slashing continuously. The female devil cultivator crazily waved her claws, bombarding the sharp sword that was surrounding her. The demonic energy around her body mixed with the sword intent of the desolator and the tribulation fire, making it difficult to distinguish them. The attack of the mother sword and the subordinate sword required the activation of the profound chi, and Su Yun was already at the end of his tether. It was already difficult for the 7 devil bone giants to attack, and they could only stand in place to defend, not to mention the subordinate swords. The swords surrounding the female devil cultivator were very fast, but their speed and power had slowed down, reducing the pressure on the female devil cultivator. Seeing Su Yun gasping for breath and continuously swallowing pills, the female devil cultivator immediately laughed out loud. Ha 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 ha, I've already said it before, you can't hold on any longer, why are you still so stubborn? Hurry up and give in. With that said, he directly knocked away the densely packed flying swords in front of him and rushed towards Su Yun. Very good. Seeing the female devil cultivator rushing towards him, not only was Su Yun not nervous, a trace of success flashed past his eyes. He suddenly raised his head, his eyes suddenly turning red. He raised his death sword and fiercely smashed towards the female devil cultivator. The female devil cultivator was well aware of Su Yun's current state. Facing this attack, she did not take it to heart, and compared to him, she did not have much strength left. However, this sword strike was extraordinarily fast. It was as if a ray of light had passed by in front of his eyes, so fast that no one could keep up with it. It was completed in an instant, and following that, a terrifying evil force exploded out. This was not the sword force that a person at the end of his tether should have. The female devil cultivator's heart turned cold. Before she could react, she felt a pain in her chest. Her entire right arm had been cut open from the left side of her abdomen. Her right arm was broken, her devil blood gushed out crazily, and she was also chopped to the ground. Ah! The female devil cultivator cried out in pain. She activated some magic treasure and her entire body flashed 100 meters away. She fell to the ground, her body almost split into 2 halves. She was already gasping for air, and it was unknown how many chi meridians in her body had been broken. When the sword struck out, Su Yun seemed to have changed into a different person. His entire body was filled with a ruthless chi. His pale face had also regained its color, but a strange pitch-black pattern started to climb up the side of his face. This was the power of the death sword. Su Yun, quickly stop! Ling Qingyu shouted. You can't even withstand this power, quickly stop! If this continues, the injuries on your body will only get worse and worse, and in the end, you will break and die. Now is the chance. If we kill her, the pressure on us will lessen. Su Yun opened his red eyes and walked towards the female devil cultivator with shaky steps, as though he wanted to end the female devil cultivator's life. Seeing Su Yun walking over step by step, the female devil cultivator's entire body immediately trembled. Her face was terrifyingly pale, her eyes were filled with fear. She wanted to activate the profound chi to escape, but just as she was about to activate it, her entire body felt an intense pain. The profound chi directly overflowed from the broken chi meridian, striking the other organs in her body. The pain almost made her faint. She could not imagine that Su Yun's sword would directly cripple her. She could not imagine just how terrifying this sword that had unleashed all of its power was. One-headed, save me. One-headed, come and save me. Finally, the female devil cultivator could not hold on any longer. She used her last bit of strength and shouted hysterically. But at that moment, the rest of the devil cultivator S were blocked by the 7 devil bone giant S, and the horned devil cultivator himself was blocked by Mu Gue, so he had no time to care about her. Hearing that, the horned devil cultivator wanted to shake off Mu Gue to help the female devil cultivator, but Mu Gue also knew the importance of this moment, and immediately bit onto the horned devil cultivator. The horned devil cultivator's strength was not weak, but after eating the devil bone giant's attack, the profound chi in his body became chaotic, causing him to be severely injured. At this moment, it was already extremely difficult for him to block Mu Gue, let alone save the female devil cultivator. Su Yun swayed his body as he walked forward step by step. His eyes were filled with killing intent, but the heart in his body was beating slower and slower. The female devil cultivator opened her eyes wide as she looked at Su Yun, who was approaching her in fear. At this moment, she no longer had the strength to resist. Su Yun raised the death sword that was filled with dense evil force and stared coldly at the female devil cultivator. He was about to activate the power of the death sword and end her life with a raise of his blade. But in that moment of life and death, Su Yun's left hand loosened, and the contracted victory sword that he was holding tightly suddenly disappeared. Following that, a cold light flashed past, and instantly cut off his right wrist. The death sword and his wrist fell from the sky at the same time. The attack stopped. Su Yun was startled. The female devil cultivator was even more surprised. She looked at the cold light in shock, only to see that it was Ling Qingyu who was standing beside Su Yun. She kept her own sword of origin, then released a sharp sword chi with one hand. After cutting off Su Yun's right wrist, with lightning speed, she slashed towards the female devil cultivator's head. This speed was not inferior to Su Yun, who was using the divine wind sword technique with all his might. Before the female devil cultivator could even react, her head was separated from her body. Devil blood spurted out, her head spun a few times in the air, and then heavily fell to the ground. The devil cultivator died, and her soul flew out. But Ling Qingyu did not care about the soul at all. She immediately removed the sword chi and supported Su Yun, who had fallen to the ground and was completely unconscious. She had forcefully cut off Su Yun's wrist, causing his connection with the death sword to be cut off, cutting off the bridge of power between the death sword and him. Without the power of the death sword, Su Yun was naturally unable to hold on. However, this was the best result. If Su Yun was allowed to use the power of the death sword again, it would probably cause great damage to his body. A broken wrist could still be repaired, and it would not affect him much, but if his body was damaged, especially if there was a problem with the spirit core and chi meridian, it would have a huge impact. With the death of the female devil cultivator, the battle on Su Yun's side had also ended. However, Su Yun had also fainted from overexertion and did not have any fighting strength. However, this was the best outcome. Damn it! When the horned devil cultivator saw that the female devil cultivator had been killed, he was immediately enraged. With a roar, His damaged body actually released circles of terrifying red light, and a large amount of devil chi surged over from all directions like bugs, gathering inside his body. Especially the dead female devil cultivator, her 3 souls and 7 spirits also seemed to have received the call of the horned devil cultivator, directly sticking to his chest, and then burrowing into it. In that moment, the horned devil cultivator's aura surged, and a domineering and berserk aura that caused people to tremble rose up. Demonization. Mu Gui's face changed. He immediately rushed forward. Scram! The one-headed devil cultivator suddenly swung his arm, fiercely smashing towards Mu Gui. The thick and solid arm smashed onto Mu Gui's shoulder, causing him to fall from the sky. With a dong sound, he smashed a huge crater on the ground. This is bad. I never thought that this devil cultivator would actually be able to control the demonization. Ling Qingyu, who was supporting Su Yun, said with an ugly expression. Mu Gui, Su Yun, quickly run. Mu Ying clenched her teeth, and dragged her wounded body towards them. Everyone present understood the power of the demonization. It was a powerful technique that the devil cultivator could use to completely release his life force. Once it was used, the devil cultivator would have no way out, but they would be able to obtain strength that surpassed their limits for a short period of time. This was a suicidal profound skill that was released by the obsession in the demon's heart. Unless it was absolutely necessary, no devil cultivator would use such a move. All of you will accompany me in death. The horned devil cultivator roared. His voice was like thunder, resounding through the clouds. The entire ancient tree was already wrapped in an extremely dense devil chi. This place was like the apocalypse. Whiz! Just at this moment, a green light suddenly came from the side, and with lightning speed, it instantly struck the horned devil cultivator's body. The green light wrapped around him, and in an instant, it surrounded him tightly. The horned devil cultivator was startled, but to his surprise, he discovered that the demonization power he had activated was retreating at a terrifying rate. Chapter 564. This is, Mu Gui was startled. He anxiously looked towards the location of the green light, only to see that the light was actually coming from the entrance of the Wanhua realm. At this moment, the door opened and a slim figure appeared at the door. Ling Qingyu looked over, only to see a large number of figures rushing out from the door. All of them had powerful auras, their strength was tyrannical. When they made their move, the ground around the ancient tree immediately became restless. Countless trees that reached the sky rose from the ground, and a large number of thick vines flew out. These branches and vines were like living creatures, piercing through the devil cultivator. Following that, a large number of vines wrapped around the horned devil cultivator, tying him up like a dumpling. The horned devil cultivator immediately fell to the ground. No matter how he activated the profound strength, he was unable to break free from the suppression. Seeing that, Mu Gui and Mu Ying were overjoyed. They quickly walked over. The two of them kneeled in front of the slim figure that walked out from the door, and shouted, "Greetings, Realm Lord." Yes. The slim figure nodded slightly, her watery eyes landing on the arrow wound on Mu Ying's shoulder. The wound there had already rotted. Mu Ying's entire arm was almost crippled, and she did not even have the slightest feeling. The slim figure gently bent over, extended her slender white hand, and slowly caressed Mu Ying's wound. A little green membrane formed, covering all the rotten parts. Mu Ying slightly closed her eyes, and her face that was distorted from the pain eased up a lot. Take her down and heal her. Don't wait for the poison to spread to her heart. At that time, I'm afraid we'll have to use spirit-wood spring water to heal her. The slim figure said softly. Yes, Realm Lord. The few spirit cultivators behind cupped their fists, then brought Mu Ying into the big door and disappeared into the light. Mu Gui sat down cross-legged and recuperated by himself. The slim figure was not in a hurry to care about Mu Gui, but quickly walked towards Ling Qingyu and the rest. Supreme Expert, quickly save him, save him. Seeing the mysterious jade figure in front of him that was glowing with light, Ling Qingyu seemed to have grabbed onto a life-saving straw and shouted anxiously. The graceful figure was not in a hurry to reply Ling Qingyu, but turned back to look at Mu Gui. Mu Gui immediately cupped his fists and said, "Realm Lord, the people of the true Devil Realm are attacking. If not for the two of them risking their lives to help, I am afraid that the gate would have already been occupied by the people of the true Devil Realm, and they were injured because of us. I hope that Realm Lord can help and save Su Yun. Oh right, although this Su Yun is a devil cultivator, he is still a student of the Master Subhoodie." Oh! When the slim figure heard this, her slender and perfect eyebrows twitched slightly. Then, she nodded and walked over. "Please lay him flat on the ground," the slim figure said softly. "All right." Ling Qingyu nodded and immediately placed Su Yun on the ground. The graceful figure bent down and gently placed one hand on Su Yun's chest. She closed her eyes and activated the profound strength, causing a light green halo to be released from her hand. This halo quickly covered Su Yun's entire body. A moment later, the slim figure raised her hand and frowned slightly. "His injuries are much worse than Mu Ying's, or perhaps they can't be called injuries, but rather dried up. His body seems to have been attached to an extremely strong profound strength, causing his body to be injured, and the situation is very bad," the slim figure said softly. "That's right." Ling Qingyu nodded her head lightly, a trace of helplessness and sorrow flashed past her eyes. "He is only in existence at the 8th stage of the Spirit Master. He does not even have a Sky Spirit Master, yet he wants to fight against those Devil Cultivator. How can he have a chance of winning? In order to defeat those Devil Cultivator, he had no choice but to activate a magic treasure that he could not control, causing his body to be injured. If I had not stopped him in time, the situation would have been even worse than it is now." "Is that so?" The slim figure turned to look at Mu Gui and asked softly, "Why is this person here?" "He wants to enter the Wanhua realm. This subordinate sees that he is sincere, and he promised to follow the rules of my Wanhua realm, so I allowed him to enter, but I never thought that at this juncture there would be people from the true Devil Realm invading," Mu Gui said. "In that case, my Wanhua realm owes this person a favor." The slim figure thought for a moment, then waved her hand and said, "Quickly bring these two into the World Tree and recuperate." "Yes, sir." With that, a few Spirit Cultivators walked over and led Ling Qingyu to carry Su Yun towards the big door. After everyone had left, the slim figure walked towards the horned Devil Cultivator. Amongst the Devil Cultivator that had invaded this place, only this person did not die. The others were all killed by the Wanhua realm's iron-blooded method. Looking at the single-horned Devil Cultivator that was like a dumpling, the slim figure gently raised her hand, and with a few light taps, the lustrous vines that were wrapped around the single-horned Devil Cultivator dissipated. The single-horned Devil Cultivator did not have any restraints. He anxiously crawled up from the ground and activated the profound chi, wanting to escape, but just as his feet were half an inch away from the ground, a ray of light shot out and struck his knee, cutting off the lower half of his knee, causing devil blood to gush out like a fountain. "Ah!" The single-horned Devil Cultivator cried out in pain. He fell from the sky and fell to the ground, finding it difficult to get up again. "If you continue to run, it won't be your legs that will be chopped off, but your head," the slim figure said expressionlessly. The single-horned Devil Cultivator groaned twice, but did not dare to make a sound. With just a simple exchange, he knew the disparity in strength between him and this person. The slim figure circled around the single-horned Devil Cultivator, a pair of watery eyes that were as moist as the stars swept across his body, and then asked, "Who sent you here to disturb my Wanhua realm's gate?" "I don't know." The single-horned Devil Cultivator coldly snorted. "If you say it, I will let you go. If you don't say it, then die here. My world tree will produce Wanhua fruit in another year, and is lacking fertilizer. I don't mind using your soul and body as fertilizer for the world tree to absorb." The slim figure said. You. The single-horned devil cultivator opened his eyes wide, looking at the slim and graceful figure in shock. He said in shock. Rumor has it that everyone in the Wanhua realm has a heart like a bodhisattva, and will not easily kill. How would you dare to do such a thing? That was the Wanhua realm of the past, and at that time, the people of the Wanhua realm were all kind-hearted, simple and pure, and at that time, the Wanhua realm was truly a paradise on earth. But now it's different. The Wanhua realm has been completely tainted by you filthy things, and the people of the Wanhua realm naturally cannot be the same as before. If that is the case, they will only be ruthlessly ravaged by you, and the Wanhua realm will also be completely destroyed. So, for the sake of the Wanhua realm, there are some things that I have to do, even if it goes against common sense. The words spoken by the slim figure were sonorous and firm, as if nothing could change her determination. The horned devil cultivator stared at her in a daze, and only spoke after a long while. You just said, "Is it true that you will let me go? I am the Realm Lord, and my words carry weight. How can I be a child's play? Don't compare me to you devil cultivators who are fickle," the slim figure said. The horned devil cultivator was silent for a moment, then said, "The one who sent us here is the sect master of the devil sect. Kill him, capture his soul, and use it to feed the world tree." The slim figure turned around and walked towards the door. Her voice was cold without a trace of hesitation. The horned devil cultivator immediately panicked and shouted, "Realm Lord, what are you doing? Didn't I say it already? You should have let me go. You're not telling the truth, and you're still trying to deceive me. How can I let you go?" The slim figure coldly snorted, pointing at the 7 devil bone giants standing around the ancient tree. She said, "These magic tools are filled with Enmo's chi. They must be Enmo's magic tools. You should know what Enmo's position in the devil sect is. He is revered by countless of devil cultivators, and Enmo is buried in the ultimate martial world. No matter who it is, they have to treat Enmo's successor with respect. Even if the other party is an enemy of the devil sect, they have to report it to the devil sect immediately. And not only did you not do so, you continued to attack that young man called Su Yun, which is enough to show that you are not from the devil sect, and you are still trying to deceive me? Kill him." "Yes, sir." The few spirit cultivators behind all activated their profound chi, and all of them rushed towards the horned devil cultivator with resentment. Seeing that, the horned devil cultivator was so scared that his entire body trembled. He clenched his teeth, lowered his head, and finally screamed, I'll say, I'll say, I'll say, I'll say, I'll say," then quickly tell the truth. "This Realm Lord will only give you one last chance," the slim figure said indifferently. The horned devil cultivator laid on the ground and cried out in pain, "It's the Dark Demon Palace. We are from the Dark Demon Palace. It was our Hall Master's idea to snatch the Wanhua Realm Gate. He was the one who told us to do it." "Squire?" The slim figure frowned. "This is just an entrance to the Wanhua realm. Why does the squire want you to seize this place? Furthermore, even if you seize the right to enter this door, what can you do? Our Wanhua realm will definitely be able to take it back. Although your Dark Demon Palace is not bad, in front of my Wanhua realm, you are just an ant on the ground. You can crush it as you please. Aren't you doing this in vain? After obtaining the door, as long as we have the right to even an incense stick of time, it will be enough. Master Retainer has a secret technique that can replicate this door, and our main mission is to replicate this door that leads to the Wanhua realm. Once we can replicate this door, we can freely enter and exit the Wanhua realm, and at that time, Master Retainer can incite the other powers of the true devil realm to invade the Wanhua realm. At that time, all of the resources in the Wanhua realm will belong to my true devil realm," the horned devil cultivator said. With that said, the people of Wanhua realm felt their hearts jump, and they were incomparably terrified. The slim figure stood in place for a long time. In the end, her watery eyes shifted to the 7 devil bone giants that were surrounding the giant tree. The giants stood there quietly like statues. After an unknown amount of time, the bodies of the giants slowly turned into sand and were blown away by the wind. In the end, they disappeared from the world. "Looks like the Wanhua realm is going to have a storm," the slim figure muttered softly. "You're tuning into the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.